And by Little Caesars, a winner any way you slice it.
Tonight, from the Forum in Inglewood, California, the Detroit Red Wing Hockey Club brings you the game between the Los Angeles Kings and the Detroit Red Wings. Hi, everybody. Bruce Martin along with Sid Abel, and we deem it quite a privilege, and we're happy to be both radio and television in this first game of the 1979-80 National Hockey League season. And Sid Abel, what a rivalry has built up between these two teams, Los Angeles and Detroit. It is perhaps fitting that this is indeed the opening game for both teams.
Bruce, there's no doubt about that. The fact that Dale McCourt said he didn't want to play here at L.A. and Rogie Vachon is in Detroit. Now that that's all straightened around, let's just hope that we have a real fine hockey season. I'm sure we will. But it's brought out, I think, the best of both these clubs because the tension here in this building is just terrific.
And you must mention another name, too, because Andre Saint Laurent, who performed quite well for the Red Wings the past couple of seasons, now moves into a Los Angeles uniform, and he'll be centering a regular line here tonight. He, of course, compensation for the McCourt and Vachon situation. So it's going to be a fun night, I think.
Bruce, I think the big key in this whole thing is going to be how well will the wing defense play, and can they stop Marcel Dionne? Marcel Dionne last year scored 12 goals against this club in the 8-game series. You've got to stop him if you're going to win hockey games, and he's one of the best in the league, so the Wings have a job to do.
Well, you mentioned Rogie Vachon, and some of this crowd here at the Forum in Los Angeles is going to be a little unhappy over the fact that he is not scheduled to play the hockey game. Jimmy Rutherford, on his performance during the exhibition season, will be the starting goaltender for Detroit tonight, and will be facing Mario Lessard, who will be in the Los Angeles goal. The Red Wings didn't have much of a season against the Los Angeles Kings last year. Last year, in the 8 games played, Detroit managed 1 victory. That was at home. They lost 5. The other 2 ended in tie hockey games, but that was last year. This is a brand new season, and we're going to be looking at some new faces. One of them is the #1 draft choice of the Red Wings, Mike Foligno.
And he appears to be a good one, Bruce. We caught his action up at Sault Ste. Marie against Minnesota a couple of weeks ago. I thought he was the best hockey player on the ice that night for the Wings. One thing about it, though, this first game and the first game that he'll be playing in the National League, he's going to have the real jitters this first game, as will all the players. But usually a veteran, the minute they drop the puck, they will forget all about the fact that it's the opening game of the season. It may take Foligno a game or two to get just used to what goes on in the National League.
Well, Mike Foligno will be playing on a line with another newcomer to the Red Wings, the former Red Wing, and Peter Mahovlich along with Errol Thompson. Well, we shall be back with the opening face-off and some pregame ceremonies right after we pause for this. And so you look at referee Greg Medill, who'll be working this hockey game tonight. The Red Wings will have Jimmy Rutherford in goal. Greg Medill, who is not really a veteran, but has been around the NHL a couple of seasons. Mario Lessard, as we mentioned, will be starting this hockey game in the net for the Los Angeles Kings. They had some brief ceremonies prior to the start of the game. One was a 40-second moment of silence in memory of Scott Garland, who played for the Los Angeles Kings and was killed in a rather tragic automotive accident in the Montreal area over the summer season. John Polich, a familiar name in hockey, handled a ceremonial face-off prior to the start of the game between the two captains, Mike Murphy of Los Angeles and the newly appointed captain of the Detroit Red Wings, Dale McCourt. Two linesmen for the hockey game will be Wayne Forsey. Wayne is a newcomer to the National Hockey League out of junior hockey, and the veteran Swede Knox will be his partner. Jimmy Rutherford, as we mentioned, in goal for the Detroit Red Wings. Bob Berry behind the bench for the Los Angeles Kings. And, of course, Bobby Crom will be handling the Wings. Big Peter Mahovlich moves in with the rookie Mike Foligno on one side, Errol Thompson on the other. They're in against the Butch Goring line. That has Glenn Goldup and Murphy up front. And for the opening face-off, a hockey season underway for the Red Wings and for the Los Angeles Kings. To play into the Detroit zone. Wings clear it ahead. Foligno hitting Peter Mahovlich with a pass. Mahovlich had Errol Thompson moving, but it was broken up at center ice by Barry Gibbs. He's a newcomer back along the defense to Los Angeles. Play is loose at center ice. Here's Gibbs picking up the loose puck. Clearing it off the boards in behind the Detroit goal. Rutherford out of the goal. Played it out on the right side to Foligno. Big Mike tried to get it out. Couldn't do it. Murphy bumping in with Willie Huber. Here's Goring. And the puck knocked away by Tommy Bergman, who's back along the defense with Huber for the Red Wings. Now Huber brings it down on the right side. He's dumped. Perino was, and there's going to be a penalty coming up to the Los Angeles Kings, and the Red Wings are going to get a quick power play chance, and we'll be back with it after we pause for this. Los Angeles' Glenn Goldup is off for tripping Foligno at the 46-second mark, and so the Red Wings have a power play chance to play in the Los Angeles zone. Back along the blue line, Dale McCourt. In the corner now, it comes to LeBratton, back to Reed Larson. His shot blocked. Puck is bouncing around and then flipped out to center ice, and the Wings back after it. McCourt and Larson are back at the points, and up front, Nedemansky, Peter Mahovlich, and Danny LeBratton. Dale McCourt takes the brunt of the booze here at the Forum in Los Angeles. LeBratton moves out center ice, wings of the extra man, and the play went in offside. Nedemansky actually straddled the line and really wasn't, but the rookie linesman...
He wasn't offside.
No,
he kept one skate right on the blue, and the rookie linesman called it as an offside. Both these teams are starting with a little more gusto than they ordinarily do. There's been 2 or 3 solid checks handed out, and the Wings have a very potent power play with Big Mahovlich in center ice, with Nedemansky and LeBratton, and of course Larson and McCourt back on the blue line.
Minute and a half left. Now, as McCourt has the puck, he's taking the booze you hear. He hands it off to Reed Larson. It bounced back to McCourt. Over on the left side, Danny LeBratton cutting in. Here's LeBratton swinging in behind the Los Angeles goal. Taking it along the boards, playing it back to Reed Larson. Larson fired his shot, and he fired it wide. It came all the way back to the blue line to Dale McCourt. He hands it back to Larson. Now McCourt winding up. McCourt had bounced away from him. Back to Larson. Larson in the circle. LeBratton kicked it back to McCourt. He took the shot, knocked away, came right back to him. Larson with a shot, and it deflected wide. Now McCourt held it in at the blue line, played it into the corner. Going back after it, Rob Palmer cleared it out on the right side, and Taylor has it there. And he is breaking out now at Dion. Dion over the line. And Larson deflected his shot wide of the goal. 35 seconds remaining in the penalty to Los Angeles' Goldup. Here's Larson ahead over the line into the Detroit zone, or rather into the Los Angeles zone, but right knocking it away from Dennis Sobchak. The play went back into the Red Wing zone, and McCourt back after it. Flings the pass out now to Errol Thompson, ahead to Sobchak. Here's Dennis Sobchak from the blue line with a shot, and he fired it wide. Here's Larson, a quick shot, and that went wide. Sobchak knocked down by Murphy, who spilled him, and the puck fired down the ice. Only 5 seconds remaining in the penalty with the play deep in the Detroit zone. In behind his own goal, Tommy Bergman. Penalty's over. Goldup back on, and now the puck knocked away by Goring, and covering up on him was Tommy Bergman. Play loose in the Detroit zone as Goring intercepted right out in front of the Red Wing net, but Bergman covered up. Now Tommy Bergman moving out center ice. No score in the game. We've played 3 minutes, 5 seconds of the first period. Moving in behind his own goal, Doug Hallward. Hallward of Los Angeles playing it ahead and moving out with it now is Goring. Butch Goring firing it into the corner. Digging in after it was Goldup, and it was Foligno that ran into him. Along with Willie Huber, puck came out in front, but Errol Thompson's there to break it up, and he and Foligno head out. Now Thompson dumping it in along the boards. It caroms in behind the Los Angeles goal, and Hallward back along the Kings defense, stopped it there. Cleared it out to center ice. Willie Huber of the Red Wings has it. Now the play in the center ice zone, knocked away by Andre Saint-Laurent. He was stopped right at the Detroit blue line. The puck loose there, and it's then dumped in behind the Detroit goal as Huber heads in after it. Willie Huber out on the right wing for Danny Bolduc. Now Bolduc of the Wings ahead to Paul Woods over the line into the Los Angeles zone. Fits the shot, a save made, and that puck bouncing around, and Lessard has moved out and grabbed a hold. And the Wings, with perhaps their best chance.
The Wings have had several good chances to probably put the puck in the net, but their shots have been off the corner. But an excellent play by Paul Woods. He just stopped short of the defenseman, took a shot, and Danny Bolduc tried to get in to poke in the rebound, but Lassard was Johnny on the spot to make a save.
We have a couple of newcomers in the Red Wing lineup now, playing on the left side and wearing number 23, Glenn Hicks, and back along the defense wearing number 2, Barry Long. And we'll have a little more time to talk about the two as the game moves along. Saint Laurent remains at center ice. Puck bounced along the boards, then the whistle stopped the play. We'll go through it again. As they whistled it down, Mike Marston, who was acquired by Los Angeles from Washington, is out on the left side of the line for the Los Angeles Kings. And over on the right side, Dean Hopkins. And he was one of the rookie choices. Now Paul Woods battling to hold it in the Los Angeles zone. It's knocked away. Saint Laurent drops it back. Moving in behind his own goal, another rookie, Mark Hardy, for the Kings. Hardy coming out on the right side now. We've played 4 minutes, 20 seconds, no score. Hardy dumping it deep into the Detroit zone, but the play went in offside. Marston was in too quickly, and they'll bring it back out center ice for the faceoff. Well, the Red Wings open up with 4 games on the road. The game here tonight, the opening game of the season. And then it'll be a Friday night game at Vancouver, Saturday night at Edmonton, and the following Wednesday, a week from tonight, at Winnipeg before Detroit returns home. And they'll play their opening game a Saturday night, the 20th of October, against the Philadelphia Flyers. Puck goes into the Los Angeles zone. Back after it is Gibbs, and it's touched for an icing. The play will come back into the Detroit zone.
Might add, too, Bruce, right now that the 2 defensemen that the Wings have on the ice are expected to play a big part if the Wings are to move up in the league. Dale Long, he's a former L.A. King back 6 or 7 years ago, and he played out in World Hockey. And, of course, Greg Jolly has teamed up with him, and Greg missed most of last season, and the Wings are expecting big things from him. And I really do believe that Jolly will make a big difference back in the blue line. And, of course, with Long as the only newcomer back in the blue line, they've got to improve back defensively.
Sid, a line that sparkled in the training camp in an exhibition play, now on for the first time with Dale McCord at center ice, LeBratton on the left wing, and Vaslav Nedomansky on the right side. Puck came back out, but breaking it up was Nedomansky, is winding up for a shot, Charlie Simmer. Well, it's one big line against another, the Marcel Dion line with Taylor on one wing and Simmer on the other. Here's Dion carrying into the Detroit zone. Dion put it right out in front, covering up Dale McCourt, knocked it away, then Dion took it back into the corner. He centered it, but Nedomansky's there. Nedomansky ahead to Dale McCourt. Now McCourt to the Red Wings, back to Nedomansky, over the line, into the Los Angeles zone. Put it right to the goal mouth. Here's McCourt with a backhand shot, and it was knocked down. And Rob Palmer clears it into the corner, and coming right back out, Dion. Now Dion at center ice, just dumped it into the Detroit end. Perry Miller of the Wings goes back after it. Along the boards on the right side to Nedomansky, ahead now to Dale McCourt. McCourt's pass taken by LeBratton. It went over the line and then knocked back out center ice, and back after it is Reed Larson. Larson flipped it off the glass. It went over the glass up into the crowd. And so the face-off stays in the center ice zone. We'll be back with more action in just a moment. Wearing number 14 for the Red Wings now is Dennis Sobchuk. He is centering a line with Polonich on the right side and Paul Woods on the left wing. Saint Laurent is back out there now. He is Dean Hopkins on one wing and Marston on the other for Los Angeles. Barry Long of the Wings back along his own blue line. A left wing pass, Paul Woods. It bounced away from him. Picked up by Saint Laurent. He was checked. The puck all the way back into the King zone, off to the side of the Los Angeles goal. Heading back after it is Doug Hallward. Played along the boards on the left side. Saint Laurent digging after it. Long knocked it away from him. Now it's Polonich at center ice. He lost it. Saint Laurent took it away. Goes chasing after it into the Detroit zone. And then Polonich came in and bounced Saint Laurent to the board. Marston made a run at very long. The puck loose, and here's Polonich coming out for Detroit. Wound up from center ice. His shot hit Hallward. Went deep into the Los Angeles zone. Cleared along the boards. But it's cleared off by Saint Laurent. Comes out center ice. Bouncing into the Detroit end. Long took a sweep at it, missed it, and Jimmy Rutherford came out of the net and whacked it out center ice zone. Back after it, Barry Gibbs. Gibbs pass into the Detroit zone, knocked back out, then it's brought back in. Here's Goring with a shot, and Woods moves in to cover up on him along with Jolly. Puck still deep in the Detroit zone. A shot by Gibbs knocked away, and now Long starts back out for Detroit. Very Long out on the right side. Foligno took it over the line. He was knocked off balance. Play goes into the corner, and coming out with it, Gibbs of Los Angeles ahead to Goring. Now Goring worked away from Mahavlich, wound up with a shot. That's deflected wide off Huber. Errol Thompson cleared it ahead to Peter Mahavlich at center ice. Gibbs takes over for Los Angeles. We've played 7 minutes, no score in the first period. Puck comes back to the Detroit blue line. Tommy Bergman, it bounced away from Foligno. Foligno went back after it, scooped it in, a bouncing shot, and Lassard handles that. Now it came back out center ice, slides into the Detroit zone, and Tommy Bergman of the wings heads back after it. His pass to Big Willie Huber, returned to Bergman. Wings failed to get it out. Here's Barry Gibbs holding it in with a shot, and Rutherford came up covering on the corner as Murphy deflected it right on, and there's the first big save for Jimmy Rutherford.
And those are the kind of shots that you really have trouble with. It was a little mistake coming out in the zone. The puck got by Errol Thompson and went out to the point. The shot was partially screened. Murphy changed the direction, but Jimmy Rutherford just hung tough at the corner. And even though he was down on his hands and knees, he made a fine save.
No score. Face-off will be in the circle to the left of the Detroit goal. Goring and Peter Mahavlich. In behind his own net, Detroit's Tommy Bergman. Played it off to Willie Huber. Huber failed to get it out. Digs back in after it. Goes in behind his own goal. Being chased by Goring. He works all the time. Again, Detroit having trouble getting it out of their own zone. It's bounced out center ice, and the Kings bring it right back in. Now Willie Huber takes it. Huber comes out center ice. Huber drops it off for Tommy Bergman. Tommy wound up, fired a long shot. Lassard kicked that away. Heading back after it is Hardy. The young defenseman's pass knocked down right at the blue line by Tommy Bergman, and the puck ended up in the crowd.
And we've really had a fast pace in an opening hockey game, Bruce. They've been going up and down, taking pieces of one another. The Wings, I think, have had the better scoring chances so far. They on the first power play, or the only power play, they had several chances. Had they been able to hit the net, they possibly would have scored. And then Paul Woods had an excellent chance when he stopped short of the defenseman and made a play that Lassard had to deflect. Jimmy Rutherford, other than the one deflected shot by Murphy, hasn't had too much work as of yet.
So it's Mahavlich with Thompson and Foligno still for the Wings. Los Angeles wins the face-off. Very Long stopped it at center ice, but the Kings take over again. Play broken up by Greg Jolly. Still Los Angeles has that puck, though, at center ice. Played out on the left side by Steve Carlson, then cleared into the Detroit end. Heading in after it, the Wings' Greg Jolly. Shot it out center ice. Foligno got it loose for Peter Mahavlich. He worked it over the line, and he's hauled her on. Another penalty coming up to Los Angeles as Mahavlich trying to cut through. Was dumped, moving in on the Los Angeles goal, so the Wings will have another power play chance, and we'll be back in just a moment. Rich Mulhern of Los Angeles moves into the penalty box, off for holding at 8 minutes and 33 seconds.
And there's the value, Bruce, of a Pete Mahavlich. He just tried to break through the two defensemen, and they had to haul him down because of his size.
Now Miller and Larson back at the point. Puck knocked away from Miller. Picking it up is Taylor. He and Dion moving into the Detroit zone. Took the shot. Dion did, and Rutherford cleared it away. Now Danny LeBratton out on the left side for Dale McCord. McCord stopped right at the line, and again the Kings almost got loose. At his own blue line, Reed Larson, a left wing pass for LeBratton over the line into the Los Angeles zone. He worked out to the side of the net, a clearing pass right in front. But taking it away is Dion, and Dion shoots at the length of the ice. As LeBratton made the play, but Dion was the only man really out in front of the Los Angeles goal. Now Detroit trying again. LeBratton down the left side. His pass went beyond Nedemansky. There'll be an icing call as Murphy went back to touch it, and the play comes all the way back into the Detroit zone with 1 minute and 12 seconds still to go in the penalty time to Mulhern of the Kings. Well, there was one game played in the opening night last night in the National Hockey League, and the St. Louis Blues moved right into Vancouver. And Thompson whipped the Vancouver Canucks 5-2.
And I have some finals of tonight's hockey, Bruce. New York Rangers defeated Toronto 6-3. Atlanta 5, Quebec 3, Chicago 4, Edmonton 2, Pittsburgh 4, Winnipeg 2. So all three new expansion clubs went down to defeat.
Now the play goes in behind the Detroit goal. Dale McCord is back at the point now. He moves out. Peter Mahovlich, Lebratton, and Nedomansky up front. And Mahovlich's pass knocked away by Goring. McCord again picking up the boost. Reed Larson had problems controlling it. Here's Goring heading back into the Detroit zone. Lebratton staying right with him. Goring, though, still hangs on to that puck. He's tenacious with it. Still battling for it. Finally, Larson breaks out. Reed Larson over the line, tried to work through and couldn't do it. Play comes back out center ice. Nedomansky hands it off to McCord again. Dale McCord played it out on the right side for Nedomansky. He headed toward the corner with it, put it right out in front. Thompson was there, but checked. Puck comes back to McCord at the blue line. He fired a shot. That's knocked away by Murphy. It's held in by Earl Thompson on the right point to Reed Larson. Larson turned away from Goring's check. 10 seconds left in the penalty. Here's a pass on the right side, and Nedomansky had to turn around to pick it up. Now Nedomansky played it back on the line. Larson hands it off to Dale McCord. Back to Larson at the blue line. His pass deflected away. The penalty is over. Mulhern is back on, and he takes the pass coming out center ice. Rich Mulhern with Larson back over the line. He's dumped. There'll be a penalty coming up to Earl Thompson. And that's sort of one of those even-them-up calls.
There's no doubt about that. That was an evener.
So the Wings fail to score, and now they will be on the defensive, and we'll be back with the Los Angeles power play in a moment.
These tough.
Well, I thought it might be Thompson. The player went down. They've given the penalty to Reed Larson for a holding, sir.
Well, Thompson was trying to get back in the play, and it appeared as though he put his stick back up over top of the Los Angeles player's stick. But Larson was the one that actually, I think, had his arms around him a little bit, and he consequently got the penalty. The Wings power play, Bruce, I thought that they were just bunching up a little too much. They were trying to get things started from center ice. Instead of going back deep in their zone and getting organized, they didn't give themselves a chance to really get freewheeling.
Jimmy Rutherford tested right from the start on a shot from the blue line by Hardy. But he knocked that away, and they face off. This time the Wings take over and shoot at the length of the ice. Now the play coming out center ice. Taylor sends it off to Charlie Simmer into the Detroit zone. Simmer played it toward the corner, knocked away, and very long. Lifts it in the air and bounces it back into the Los Angeles end, and back after it is Hallward. Doug Hallward, the youngster, off to the right of his own goal. Hands it now to Marcel Dion. Dion pulling away from Paul Wood's check. Still controls it. Comes out center ice. Now Dion, left side pass to Hardy. Hardy moving into the Detroit zone. Puck went into the corner. Here's Charlie Simmer with it. Put it right out in front, and Dion was there and just didn't get control. He had a half-empty net. Now Dion put it right through the goal mouth. It came back to Hallward. The centering pass knocked away. Turning with it is Taylor. Taylor was checked. The puck rolled out to center ice, and Sobchuk chased his man there. And Los Angeles came close. 50 seconds remaining in the penalty. Hardy's pass coming to Simmer at center ice. Back to Hardy. Hardy with a bouncing puck, and Sobchuk's stick caught him. Now Hardy at center ice, moved away from Sobchuk, hands it to Dion into the Detroit zone with a shot, and that was blocked by Long, who went low and made a good move on it. And the Wings shoot it out center ice. Sobchuk and Taylor do some bumping. Now back in, shot by Harlan, knocked away. They battle for it, another shot, and score! Charlie Simmer picks it up and fires it in. A power play goal, and Los Angeles leads 1-0.
There was a case of a play that was shot. The Wings got caught pretty well in center ice when they were trying to make a quick change, and the play didn't get down to the far zone. The puck was stopped by a defenseman, got dropped down right into Charlie Simmer's feet, and he whipped it high over Jimmy Rutherford's right elbow. Jimmy Rutherford didn't have much of a chance at all. It was partially blocked, dropped down out in front of Charlie Simmer, and he's a boy that come on real strong last year in the late part of the season, the last half of the season for this Los Angeles club.
So it's a power play goal scored at 12 minutes and 23 seconds. 1-0 Los Angeles. Puck sent back into the Los Angeles zone. The Kings head in after it. They battle in along the board. Hallward draws the only assist on the goal. It's Zimmer from Hallward at 12 minutes and 23 seconds. Power play goal. The puck held in along the boards in the Los Angeles zone. So the face-off will remain the rim of the circle off to the right side of Mario Lessard. Well, that Los Angeles player we mentioned a moment ago that caught Sobchuk's stick being attended to over along the Los Angeles bench, but he is not seriously hurt. Mark Hardy. Now the play is in the Los Angeles end. San Laurent fired a long pass out on the left side. Marson couldn't control it there. It's cleared out center ice. Picking it up is Bolduc. Danny Bolduc moved it into the Los Angeles end, and the Kings stop in. Clear it back out center ice. Perry Miller. Miller of Detroit scooping it back in. It bounces in toward the corner. Bolduc went in after it. Worked away from his man. Brought it right out in front with a shot. Oh, and Lessard came up and gloved that after Bolduc had made a great move, and Lessard came through with a dandy swoop.
A beautiful play by Danny Bolduc. He just walked around big Rick Mulhern, took his time, moved out in front, and just one of those unconscious deals. He shot the puck right where Lessard had his big catching glove, and so Lessard winds up being the hero. I just wanted to mention on the Los Angeles goal, Bruce, as the Wings went to make their quick change in center ice, the play hadn't gone down quite as far as, say, the LA blue line. They were starting back up with the play, and there was just a little mix-up of the fellows coming off the bench.
Willie Huber's shot deflected wide of the Los Angeles goal, cleared out on the right side, and then tilted out to center ice, and the Wings back after it. Dennis Polonich handed it off to Bolduc. Bolduc had it knocked away from him. They shoot it back into the Detroit end, off to the side of his own goal. Jimmy Rutherford cleared it in the corner on the left to Tommy Bergman. Bergman's pass bounced off the referee, and San Laurent holds it in. Moving after it, bumping along the boards is Dean Hopkins. Wings took over a second time, and Tommy Bergman played it into the corner now to Willie Huber. Out on the right side to Bolduc. Bolduc has Glenn Hicks on the other wing, and Bolduc is knocked to the ice by the youngster Doug Hallward. And coming right back down now for Los Angeles, Randy Holt. Puck driven back into the Detroit end, and Huber goes back after it. We have played 14 minutes of the first period. 1-0 Los Angeles leads. At center ice, Glenn Goldup of the Kings trying to work away from Dale McCourt. Played it in behind the Detroit net, went in after it himself. Goldup being jammed in along the boards by Huber, and McCourt came in after the loose puck. Trying to work away from Goring, but didn't do it. The Wings deep in their own end. This time Tommy Bergman cleared it out on the right side, and Nedemansky. His pass right out in front to Murphy. Here's Murphy handing it off to Goring, and Goring failed to get the pass, and they were wide open in front of the Detroit goal. Now a quick left wing pass to LeBratton from McCourt. LeBratton into the Los Angeles zone. His pass went way behind Nedemansky, and the Kings Goldup turns in behind his own goal. What a chance Goring had a moment ago on a bad pass right out in front of the Detroit net. In behind his own goal, Mark Hardy of Los Angeles. 5 minutes remaining in the first period. Well, the new owner of the Los Angeles Kings, Dr. Jerry Buss, will be Sid's guest between periods. Puck came right out in front of the Detroit goal, knocked down by Perry Miller. Miller was sent down. Here now Nedemansky over the line with a shot. Lessard juggled it, but stopped it. It goes in behind the net, and coming out with it again is Hardy. Now Hardy bringing it out center ice for Los Angeles. He bounced it off to the right side of the Detroit net. Rutherford cleared it along the boards, but not out. Nedemansky gave his man a bump, but still it stays in the Detroit end. Taylor trying to dig it loose. There's a pileup of players in the corner. Still no whistle. They dig away at it. Taylor got a stick on it. Finally, the referee stops the play. 1-0 Los Angeles, and we're back in just a moment. A power play goal by Charlie Simmer at 12:23 of this first period, the only score of the hockey game. Face off in the circle to the right side of the Detroit net. Marcel Dion in against Pete Mahovlich. Mahovlich won the draw. Barry Long sent it along the boards. Foligno got it out center ice. Here's Errol Thompson pulled off the puck as it slides into the Los Angeles end, and the Kings shoot it back down the ice. That's going far enough for an icing call as Greg Jolly heads back after it, and the play will come back into the Los Angeles zone. Four minutes, 3 seconds to play in the opening period, not only of the game, but of the hockey season. We mentioned the fact that Sid will be talking with the new owner of the Los Angeles Kings, a very interesting gentleman, Dr. Jerry Buss, and then the Wings general manager, Ted Lindsay. We'll give Sid his ideas of what's going to happen this season when he joins him between the first and second period. Face off in the circle to the left of the Los Angeles goal. This time it's Goring in against Mahovlich, and Goring won the draw. Then Mahovlich moved in, took it away. Tried to play it back to the blue line, but Goring broke that up. Now Goring coming out center ice, rolls it into the corner. Rutherford came out of the net to play it away from Goldup. Foligno went in, took a bump along the boards, then came up with the puck. Mahovlich cleared it. It came out center ice. Here's Foligno with it over on the right side. Harold Thompson goes digging into the corner in the Los Angeles zone. Pulled away from Rob Palmer in behind the net. He's hauled down. And that puck went off to the side. And the Kings go after it as Barry Gibbs shot it out center ice again, and this time Jolly's after it. Now Jolly, a long pass that Thompson steers into the Los Angeles end. In behind his own goal. It's cleared over on the left side by Mulhern. Puck came right out in front. Digging after it is Long. Long took a whack at it, but it was knocked away by Goldup and came back out center ice. Now Greg Jolly shooting it back into the Los Angeles end. San Laurent has it there. Andre San Laurent coming out center ice, being bothered by Mahovlich, and the play went in offside with Marson on the left wing as Mahovlich was really bothering San Laurent. 3 minutes to go in the period. We're back in just a moment. Power play goal, the difference in the hockey game. Other than that, it's been very evenly played here in the first period. 1-0 Los Angeles lead. Now here's Willie Huber at center ice. Fired a shot wide of the net. It bounced off to the side of the goal, and Lassard cleared it. Willie Huber stopped it at the blue line, fired a backhand shot, and that's grabbed off in front of the goal by a Hallward who holds on to it, so the face-off stays in the Kings' end off to the left side of Lassard.
And L.A. in this last 30 seconds or so appears though they're going to try and play safe from their own zone. Both their defensemen that handled the puck tried to flip it out along the boards.
Now from the face-off, the puck came back to the line. Huber fired a long shot, and it sailed just wide. Lassard moved late on it. Puck rolls back down into the Detroit end. Marson would be the first man there, so Rutherford came out of the goal, cleared it up right off of the linesman, Swede Knox, and they still go after that puck. Here's San Laurent holding it in, playing it back on the line. Hallward fired the shot wide of the goal. Rutherford knocked it down, hands it off to Willie Huber. Huber on the left wing now to Woods. Paul Woods pass, picked off by Sobchuk. He turns at his own blue line, center ice to Huber. Now over the line is Paul Woods. Woods pulled up, he's jumped. There's a shot by Huber, knocked away, goes to the corner. And trying to center it was Polonich. They battle in along the boards. Polonich got it loose, but he's checked by Marston. And Marston cleared it along the boards on the right side. And Polonich moved over there. He ran into his man, Dean Hopkins, and they hold it for a face-off. And now referee Medill is starting to let things happen a little bit.
And it appears though both these clubs would like to see something happen. They're going after one another. The Wings, this line of Dennis Polonich and Paul Woods and Dennis Sobchuk have appeared very strong out there each time they've been out. They've carried the play, had excellent chances in deep. The Wings are having a problem trying to get the puck on the net. It appears that a lot of the L.A. defensemen are blocking shots, and when they do get through, they're just off the corners.
1:45 to play in the first period. 1-0 for Los Angeles. And the Wings now with McCourt, Nedemansky, and LeBreton. Puck knocked away right at the Detroit blue line, and Perry Miller of the Wings takes over. Now Miller cleared it to LeBreton. LeBreton bouncing puck. He put it right in the goal. He scores! Sent it through the goal mouth, and it just caught the post to the left side of Lassard and ended up in the net. And so the Wings on the move by LeBreton have tied the hockey game.
A nice little pass from Perry Miller just before he got up over the blue line. He got a break. The puck bounced off Taylor, Dave Taylor, and went right back to LeBreton. He had Lassard beaten because Lassard figured he was on an angle where he couldn't put it in the net, and he slid it right inside the post with Lassard coming down out on his hands and knees. He was right even with the goal mouth practically, and he just backhanded with one hand, slid it into the open corner to tie this hockey game up.
Nedomansky and Miller draw the assist on the goal by LeBreton. 18:35, and the game tied at 1-1. Now 1:05 to go in the first period. Here's Dale McCourt stealing the puck, and he was dumped as he got over the line, or he'd have been in cold. And coming right back is Taylor. Now Dave Taylor bringing it back into the Detroit zone. Here's Taylor putting it out in front, and it was Larson that moved in to cover up on Charlie Simmer. Coming back off the wings, Perry Miller cleared it out on the right side. Nedomansky couldn't reach it. It slapped back into the Detroit zone. Now Larson's pass to Miller, bounced out center ice and picked up offside by Glenn Hicks. And I'll tell you, Dale McCourt could have been on his way, and he had the skates pulled out from under him.
Yes, and then right back inside the Detroit blue line, Reed Larson tried to throw a weak backhand pass all the way across the ice to his teammates. And let me tell you, it could have been intercepted, and there would have been a free shot on the net, too, for L.A. So both clubs, it appears, though, the pace here, Bruce, in this first period has been terrific. And some of the players are staying out there getting caught in changes. It's early in the season. They haven't got their line changes down pat. Some players are staying out just a little longer, and when they get tired, they have problems getting off the ice.
Peter Mahovlich out to take the face-off now against Mike Murphy inside the Detroit blue line. Mahovlich has Hicks and Bolduc with him. Mahovlich actually won the face-off. It came out center ice. Picked up now by Greg Jolly. Jolly slid it along the boards into the Los Angeles zone, and Goring heads back after it. Drops it off. Now Randy Holt played it to Murphy. Murphy checked right at center ice by Hicks. And the puck driven back to the Detroit blue line. Coming in with it now the Kings. Here's Goring putting it out in front. And it was Bolduc that came back and covered up neatly on Goldup. Bolduc and Goldup. The puck held along the boards in the Detroit zone for a face-off to the left of the Red Wing goal. And 2 seconds remain. It'll be a quick face-off in the circle to the left of Jimmy Rutherford.
And it's an important face-off. The Wings have big Peter Mahovlich out there, though. He should be able to tie up the opposing center iceman. It will probably be Goring. He should be able to tie him up for the 2 seconds.
Except that here comes Marcel Dion.
He'll come back out to the point, I would believe.
And if Goring can win the draw, he'll be aiming it for Dion with 2 seconds to go in the play deep in the Detroit end. Dion will be the trigger man. Goring spots him right where he wants him. So a big face-off. Now Bolduc is going to, or rather Dale McCourt is going to take the face-off. And the referee, Greg Medill, moves in to tell Peter Mahovlich to move back. So it's Goring in against McCourt. Goring won the draw. The shot right on by Dion, but knocked away by Jimmy Rutherford. So that's it, the first period. Here's the scoring summary brought to you by Magnavox and Fredder Appliance Stores. A power play goal with Reed Larson in the penalty box at 12:23 by Charlie Simmer, assisted by Doug Howard, gave Los Angeles a 1-0 lead. The game tied by Danny LeBreton. At 18:35, a pass from Miller, and Nedomansky also drawing an assist on the goal. And so that's it, the end of the first period of play with a score. Detroit Red Wings 1, the Los Angeles Kings 1.
Hi, and this is RCA's 19-inch ColorTrack remote control, the finest that money can buy at a price you won't believe. If you've ever wanted remote control and felt that you couldn't afford it, believe me, I'll change your mind. Come in and see me soon. Supplies are very limited, and I'll prove to you that when you deal with the boss, you don't pay a salesman's commission. Be sure to get your boss t-shirt.
In the first period of play, the Red Wings 6 shots and the Los Angeles Kings 5. Evenly played period, and that's what the score indicates, with Los Angeles 1 and the Detroit Red Wings 1. 1 period of hockey by the boards in the brand new National Hockey League season. Well, a brand new owner of a team that's been around the league for a while now, Dr. Jerry Butts, who has purchased the Los Angeles Kings and also the Lakers in the offseason, and he is now joining our cohort, Sid Abel.
that right? Is that what they tell us?
Thank you, Bruce. My guest is Jerry Buss, the new owner of this fabulous forum, and the two tenants that belong here, the Lakers of the NBA and the Kings of the National Hockey League. Jerry, I was going to ask first, you're a rookie now. There's been one period of hockey played. How'd you see it?
Well, it was really very exciting, especially when we scored the first goal. That was, of course, the first goal that's ever been scored while I've been the owner. It's exciting. What can I tell you? It's everything, every dream come true.
Jerry, I know that you've been involved with sports here in Los Angeles, but this is a new venture. Was it something that you had aimed for, or is it something, did you expect to be here as an owner of the Kings to start the 1979-80 season?
Well, I can't say exactly that I expected to, Sid. Certainly, I've dreamed about it for 3 or 4 years. And over the last year, of course, that dream became a reality.
Right. Now, the biggest controversy we've had in hockey, and I think it's fitting that the Wings and the Kings should meet here on this opening game of the National Hockey League season. The controversy was the compensation for Rogie Vachon, and I know this was back in the Jack Kent Cooke days, but I understand that you met with Dale McCourt and talked to him this past summer about possibly his coming out here and play. Would you mind telling us about your meeting with him?
Well, I did. I flew to Toronto. I met with Dale. I found him to be every inch the gentleman that everyone had said he was. I was very, very impressed with him. In fact, the more I talked to him, the more convinced I was that I would like him to be with the Kings. But he told me he simply did not want to skate in Los Angeles. He preferred Detroit. I respected his wishes. We decided to end it right then and there. He lived up to his word, I lived up to mine, and it was a very congenial meeting. I have nothing to say except the highest for Dale McCourt.
Well, that's very nice of you, Jerry. Conversation with players like that, and you have some fine ones out here, really stars in your hockey club. Will you become active as an owner, or will you leave that pretty well up to your general manager, George McGuire? I mean, I'm just trying to feel you out as a new owner if you're going to be really an active owner in hockey.
Well, I think there's a place for both an owner and a general manager. A general manager has to make certain kinds of decisions, but I think the owner is required to give an overall view, a continuity to the program, if you will. As a result, I think that I will have to play an active role. I intend to do so. I treat it as a personal challenge, and my desires are to win, and I hope to translate that desire onto the ice.
Jerry, this club has not used a first-round draft pick, I believe, in their 12 or 13 years of existence. And it seems that other clubs have been successful. I'm thinking of the New York Islanders and clubs like that have built their hockey teams on draft picks. As a new owner in the league, will you possibly feel that draft picks are going to be one way of bringing a Stanley Cup here to L.A.? And I imagine that's in your view, in your thoughts, too.
Well, I think so. From what I can gather in talking to the various general managers, the hockey observers, the experts around the league, everyone says these days you have to build through the draft. So our position is to do that. And of course, this year, for the very first time in our existence, we did have a first-round draft choice, which we signed in Jay Wells. We're very proud of him. We think he is National Hockey League caliber. We have some more draft choices coming up in future years. It will be a slow building process, but we think we'll get there through the draft choices.
Jerry, and while we're talking hockey, let's just switch to basketball. You drafted a boy that back in Michigan, they're very, very fond of, Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson's with your Lakers. Do you want to give us a little report on him?
Magic is truly magic. He's going to pack them in wherever he goes. He's one of the most phenomenal ball handlers I've ever seen. He does the surprise, the unusual, brings the crowd to their feet. But perhaps the best part about him is every time he's in an arena, everyone has a smile on their face. It's contagious. He sets it off and it spreads around the crowd. So Magic is going to be a very, very exciting player for us here in Los Angeles.
And you're going to be a very, very busy man because I believe the Lakers open in a couple of days.
That's right. We have our opener not at home but away in San Diego, which is close enough for me to go. So I'll take a busload of friends down there, and we're going to cheer the Lakers on to victory.
Good. Jerry Buss, thank you ever so much for taking time to stop by and chat with us. Very best of luck to the Kings and to the Lakers. Thank you. Now let's go back to the station for this message.
for being our guest on Red Wing Hockey, Puritan Sportswear would like to present you with a handsome sweater and sports shirt ensemble. Puritan, America's standard of quality in men's sportswear. Puritan is available at fine stores everywhere. And so from the Los Angeles Kings to the front office of the Detroit Red Wings, and Ted Lindsay joins Sid.
From the new owner, Jerry Buss, Ted, to the general manager, Ted Lindsay. Let's just talk now about the Wings. We let him talk about L.A. I thought it was an excellent first period.
Well, I think everybody was quite keyed up today, very nervous, and I don't think that I've ever been more nervous myself since we played together. And I don't know whether it's just getting older, but I think we have a pretty good hockey club, and I just want us to get off on the right foot.
Ted, I think it's a good sign when you have butterflies before a game. Here, I haven't been in hockey now for years, and I had butterflies today just thinking that, boy, there's something about this opening game. There's something about coming into a building an opening game.
Well, I think there's a lot of unknowns right now, and we've made some changes this summer, and hopefully these changes will benefit us an awful lot. I've always said I wasn't completely disappointed with our last year's team. I was disappointed with our finish, but not with the overall effort.
Let's just talk about some of your kids, Ted. You've made many changes, but let's talk about the #1 draft pick. He's a good-looking boy.
Thankfully, no, there were a lot of good drafts this year. Said, since the exhibition season is over now, we did not make any mistake, and he's got a great anticipation for the puck. He's a goal scorer also.
Now, switching from him, I don't know how you acquired Barry Long. Barry Long played for this Los Angeles club 6 or 7 years ago and then went to World Hockey. How did Detroit get the rights to him?
Well, we traded the rights to Danny Grant a couple of years ago for the rights to Barry Long, and it's turned out it was something that Los Angeles got something that helped them right away. We've had to wait a few years, but Barry Long was the best defenseman in my estimation in the World Hockey, and he should help us considerably.
Well, Teddy, you know, they always say that to win hockey games, you have to have defensemen, and I am very high on a youngster that's coming back after missing most of last year, Greg Jolly. What kind of a camp has he had?
Well, we've had two fellas in that condition. You know, Greg missed the whole season. He played the last few games of the year, Sid, and that takes a little bit of a while to get the condition, get the timing, get strength back, and Greg has had what you would call just a fair training camp, and but I don't write that off completely either, because he did miss the whole season. And the other fellow that I was talking about that missed the whole year was Brent Peterson. Brent is a notorious slow starter, even when he played junior. This has set him back a little bit, missing the whole season.
Now, you're carrying 23 players on this trip, dressing 19, so you're sitting 4 in the stands. Will you do this for some time, or will you get down to pretty well what the number that you have to play?
Well, not too long. We want to be fair to everybody, but you can only take so long to be fair, and it'll be done by the elimination of themselves with effort, with mistakes, and we will get the other 4 players. We might keep one extra one around a little longer, Sid, but we'll get rid of the other 3 as quickly as we can, because it makes it easier for them to be playing and makes it easier for the coach to be able to run it.
Ted, before the players come on the ice, I've got to ask about your feelings with Big Peter Mahovlich. It's nice seeing him back in the Detroit uniform.
Well, you know, he should never have left, as you know,
Right.
Sid, and
I traded him.
But he's back. His attitude is just tremendous. If Pete plays to 70% of his potential, he'll be just such a value to us. Also very valuable in the fact in the dressing room. He's a great team player, and he contributes an awful lot.
Ted, thanks ever so much for stopping by. Very, very best of luck tonight and the rest of the season.
Thanks,
we
Sid.
want to get back in the playoffs. Thanks a lot. Now let's go back to the station for this message.
What's new in the business world? Get the facts. It's Your Business. Premieres Sunday, October 14th at midnight, right here on TV 50.
Bruce Martin along with Sid Abel with you from here in our broadcast, telecast location at the Forum. They have called it Jack Kent's Fabulous Forum, but no longer. It is now, as you heard, between periods with Sid, Jerry Buss's Fabulous Forum here in Inglewood, California, the home of the Los Angeles Kings. Very quickly, we can talk a little bit about some of the other games that took place tonight. The New York Rangers defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs at Toronto 6-3. Vickers, Hedberg, Esposito, Dave Maloney, Johnston, and Nielsen all scoring for the Rangers. Ellis, Curtin, and Williams for Toronto. The Atlanta Flames got out in front of Quebec by a score of 4-0 going into the third period in the game at Quebec. And then Cloutier scored 3 goals for Atlanta to bring them back into the game, but Vail had scored one for Atlanta. It ended up Atlanta 5, Quebec 3. At Pittsburgh, the Penguins got off, defeating the Winnipeg Jets by a score of 4-2. Malone, 2 goals by Ferguson and 1 by Sullivan for Pittsburgh. Lukowicz and Sullivan scored for Winnipeg. And Chicago Blackhawks, 2 goals by John Marks, another by Preston, another by Murray, beat Edmonton 4-2. Lowe and Hunter, the goal scorers for Edmonton in that one. So that gives you an idea of the other games around the National Hockey League tonight. In the shots and goal in the first period of this hockey game, the Red Wings had 6, Los Angeles Kings 5. Well, before this second period gets underway, let's pause right now. 10 seconds for station identification. This is the
WKBD TV 50, Detroit.
Jimmy Rutherford adjusting the mask in the Detroit goal, and Mario Lessard getting set in the goal, which is off to our left as the second period is about to get underway. The game tied at 1-1. Simmer, a power play goal for Los Angeles. Danny LeBreton at 18:35 scoring for the Red Wings, and that's where we stand. And the second period underway as the puck goes in behind the Detroit goal, and Tommy Bergman heads back after it. Tommy, a pass on the right wing. Foligno didn't get it out, but following up, Willie Huber cleared it off now to Errol Thompson, to Mahovlich, a shot from the blue line, and Lessard kicks that out. They go in along the boards, bumping there, Mahovlich and Rob Palmer, but the puck comes out to Goring. Here's Goring, sent it over the line, and a play very close to being offside, still bouncing around in the Detroit end, but Errol Thompson made the stop on it and moves right back down the ice for the Wings. It went into the Los Angeles end, cleared back out. Mahovlich hands it back now to Willie Huber, and now to Tommy Bergman. Here's Bergman moving it back out center ice. Tommy dumps it along the boards in behind the net. It took a bounce. Lessard handled it there. Foligno went in. He tied up his man. The two of them fell down, and Goring goes in to take the puck away. Now it's Goldup of Los Angeles. He cleared it off the boards into the Detroit zone, and Rutherford came out to knock it away from Murphy. Wings shoot it out center ice. It was knocked away with a high stick by Sobchuk of the Wings, and so the play is stopped. And the face-off stays just over the Detroit blue line.
Bruce, I was going to mention, I don't know how many people are left in Detroit. It appears that every time we come to L.A., half of Detroit and the surrounding areas of Detroit are up here to say hello to us. I've got a list about 9 miles long, so the first real opportunity we get, we'll read off some names.
Now Andre Saint Laurent moves out between Marson on one wing. Over on the other side is Dean Hopkins for Los Angeles. The play in the Detroit zone. Hopkins picked it up. Paul Woods tipped it away, but it's kept in. Here's Hopkins moving in behind the Detroit goal, being checked by Dennis Polonich. Still, Hopkins controls it. He lost his stick. Saint Laurent knocked his man down. Now it's still deep in the Detroit end, in behind the net. Perry Miller goes in. Marson gets involved. And the puck came out, knocked away by the Wings, who are going to shoot at the length of the ice, as the forechecking of the Kings was giving the Red Wings a little problem. 1-1 tie, and we're back with more action in just a moment.
New York Rangers 6, Toronto 3. Atlanta 5, Quebec 3.
Well, when Bobby Crom sends out his line of Nedemansky, McCord, and LeBreton, Bob Berry behind the Los Angeles bench as in the countering with the Marcel Dion line with Taylor and Simmer. Each line has scored. Los Angeles on the power play. Now Perry Miller goes in behind his own net for the Wings. Cleared it too far for Danny LeBreton. It was kept in at the line. Taylor took a bump from Perry Miller. Miller lost his stick. They jammed the puck in along the boards. They're bouncing there. It came loose. The Wings failed to get it out. Now here's Simmer going in behind the Detroit net. Moving in, Reed Larson, or rather, it was Larson who tapped it away. Didn't get it out. A shot from the line. They score! That puck took a bounce into the net behind Jimmy Rutherford, who's arguing with the referee, Medill. losing the argument.
I believe it could have hit Reed Larson. Reed Larson was tied up with Marcel Dion right at the corner of the net. It wasn't shot that hard from the blue line, but it appeared as though it deflected off someone at the corner of the net. Went across in the open part of the net. I think it hit either Larson or Dion's leg. It was going to miss the net entirely.
Well,
Swung across and caught the open side.
So the Kings get a break that time.
Number 18, Hayes.
No, it was Taylor who was going to get credit for the goal.
Assist to number 3, Doug Howard. Number 16, Marcel
Dion draws an assist along with Howard, so it bounced in off Taylor out in front of the goal. Rutherford really didn't have a chance for it. Here's Dion taking the puck right to the side of the net. Put it out in front, but cutting in. Simmer failed to get to the pass. Now Danny LeBratton heads back down the ice. One-man rush. He goes in, waits for his men to pull up, handed it off to the side. It came back to Larson with a shot. Lassard knocked it away. Big save by Mario Lassard, and now Simmer back for the Kings. Handed it off to Taylor. Taylor took the shot, and Rutherford went low, held on to it. And the face-off stays in the Detroit end to the right side of the Red Wing goal. So it was Howard who took the shot, and it bounced in off Taylor, who was being covered by Larson at the time. It actually hit his leg, and that, of course, is what Rutherford was arguing about.
Right, I thought it was Dion. It was Taylor at the corner of the net, and Larson had him wrapped up, and it hit a leg and went in.
Had it been directed in by the skate or the leg, then it would not have counted, but the referee said no. It bounced in off of it, right?
Right, it was a legitimate goal.
Now Barry Long of the Wings clears ahead to Danny Bolduc. Bolduc got it over the line. Hicks was charging in after it, failed to get to it. It came back out center ice. Long shot it back in. It goes in along the boards, in behind the net. Going in after it, Rich Mulhern. He cleared it out on the right wing, and coming back with it now, Ian Hopkins of Los Angeles, shooting it into the Detroit zone. It bounced kind of crazily in behind the Detroit goal, into the corner. They charge in thereafter. It's dug away by Hopkins. Now covering up on him is Long. Hopkins did work it back to the blue line. Hardy took the shot wide of the Detroit goal. Rutherford came out of the net. San Laurent gave him a bump. They move in along the board, still deep in the Detroit end. The whistle stops the play, and a face-off to the left of the Red Wing goal. And the Kings lead it 2-1.
And this has been the Wings' biggest problem over the past few years on teams that move in deep and put on pressure. They've got Sobchuk, Bolduc, rookie defenseman in a way, Long breaking in with Jolly, and they can't just seem to handle the pressure in deep.
Sobchuk won the draw, and Jolly brings it out to center ice. Handed it back to Sobchuk over in the right wing. Bolduc kicks it into the Los Angeles zone, goes into the corner along with Howard. They take it in along the boards. Glenn Hicks in there battling for it. San Laurent took it to the boards and held it there. That keeps a face-off deep in the Los Angeles zone, and the circle off to the left of Mario Lassard, and the Wings send on big Mike Foligno along with Mahovlich and Thompson. Andre San Laurent playing his first game with the Los Angeles Kings against his former teammates, the Red Wings.
And I would imagine he has a few butterflies tonight, too, playing his first game here in this building with a new owner and, of course, a new coach and manager, and playing against his former teammates.
Now Goring will go in against Mahovlich to the left side of the Los Angeles goal. Mahovlich won the draw, took it into the corner, but he has trouble there with Goring. Mahovlich still had the stick on it. Put it out in front, but Foligno couldn't reach it, and the Kings clear it out to center ice. Willie Huber's pass knocked away by Goring, but Foligno moved in, took it away from him, cutting into the Los Angeles zone, trying to work through, but Rob Palmer covered up there, and it's cleared back into the Detroit zone, and Tony Bergman hustles back after it. We've played 4 minutes, 20 seconds of the second period, 2-1 Los Angeles. Willie Huber had trouble with the pass, turned around. Still the Wings having problems in their own end, and Huber retreats in behind his goal with a pass to Tony Bergman. Bergman out on the left wing for Errol Thompson. They hold the puck in along the boards. Now Tony Bergman and Glenn Goldup. Goldup really racked Bergman to the ice a moment ago, and after the play had been stopped, Bergman moved in with Goldup, and the two of them gave each other a little jostling and a grouping of players, but nothing will come of this. So while they separate them, we'll be back in just a moment. Tommy Bergman back along the defense. Foligno, and digging after it, failed to work it out. Kept in at the line by Hardy. Hardy took the shot. It's knocked away. Cooing out Foligno ahead to Mahovlich on a breakaway. Here's Peter Mahovlich moving in, and he was checked from behind. Good move by Mulhern. Puck came right out in front. Thompson was there and just couldn't get the stick on it. As the Wings had two great scoring opportunities. The centering pass knocked away. And Hallward played it on the blue line. It was kept in for the moment by Willie Huber. Huber held it in a second time. Foligno off the circle now to Mahovlich. Back out to Errol Thompson, and he was checked. Nice scoring, and the puck slides all the way back into the Detroit end. Well, Mahovlich and then Errol Thompson, both with great opportunities. Still, it's 2-1, Los Angeles. Willie Huber, center ice pass to Foligno. Thompson moving over the line. Here's Errol Thompson going, and he scores! And the Wings have tied the game at 2-2 as Thompson cut right through after taking the pass.
There was no mistake on that one. Big Peter Mahovlich was caught from behind on his breakaway. Surprisingly, on one shift, they would catch the Los Angeles defense way up over their own blue line and be able to feed a pass through to a center iceman or a fellow out through the middle. Mahovlich should have scored. He elected to try to pull the goaltender and then made a play and missed, but Errol Thompson had no one to beat at all, and he just whipped the puck on the right-hand side about knee-high, just inside the post, put the Wings tied at 2.
Number 7, Willie Huber.
So Huber and Foligno will draw the assist. The goal scored at 5:31 and the game tied at 2-2.
Number 12, Errol Thompson.
Now here's Dion, a left side pass. Zimmer digging in after it.
Number 7,
Nedemansky bothering him. Rutherford cleared it to the corner. Kings have the pressure on right now. It slid right to the goal mouth. It's still sliding around. Rutherford is down that puck with a pileup of players. Still no whistle. It came loose and the Kings control it. It came back to Randy Holt with a shot, and Rutherford kicked it away. Here's Taylor moving with it, pulling away from Dale McCord, going into the corner, and the net was knocked off the pipe by Jimmy Rutherford perhaps, and that stopped the play just as the Kings were applying some sort of pressure.
And if Jimmy Rutherford did knock it off the post, it was a smart play. It usually calls for a penalty, but they're probably looking at Jimmy Rutherford saying, well, he's too small to be able to lift that up off the post. The Wings should have had that puck frozen. It was all around the net, but they kept scrambling for it, and eventually Los Angeles had an excellent chance to score a goal.
Dale McCord is out to take the face-off now with Polonich and Paul Woods on either side. Saint Laurent. He has number 12, Dean Hopkins, on his right wing, and Marson on the left side. Marson battling to control the puck. They bumped into each other right in the face-off circle, and the puck was finally cleared down the ice by the Wings. It'll not go far enough for an icing. Holt comes back to play it. Hands it off to Mulhern. Mulhern center ice pass, skips back toward the Detroit line as Polonich comes back after it. 2-2 tie. Now Miller ahead to Larson to Paul Woods. Woods was stopped. Back over the line now. The puck broken up by Reed Larson, and Larson lost it. Right out in front, a shot fired by Hopkins was wide of the goal. Coming back now, Paul Woods ahead to McCord over the line. McCord battling to control the puck, spun around by Saint Laurent. Now Mulhern goes in behind the Los Angeles goal and heads out. His pass to Marson, skipped away from him. The Wings shoot it back in on a delayed offside. Holt brings it back out. Moving into the Detroit zone with a shot, and Rutherford cleared that away. Now Perry Miller handed it off to Larson, and Marson really dumped Larson. Ahead it comes now to Dale McCord. He played it into the Los Angeles zone. The Kings shoot it right back out. With it now is Hicks, Glenn Hicks of the Wings, playing it back to Perry Miller. They're bumping into each other now. Puck covered two lines, and the play is offside. The game is tied 2-2, and we're back in just a moment. We have 12 minutes, 40 seconds to go here in the second period. Game tied 2-2. The Detroit Red Wings, the Los Angeles Kings. Puck bounced out to center ice, fired right back in by Barry Gibbs. They dig along the boards. Bolduc had a stick on it, couldn't work it out. It goes to the corner. Steve Carlson in after it, put it right out in front, and Goring was grabbed by Greg Jolly, and there's going to be a penalty coming up to the Red Wing defenseman Jolly. And so the Kings, who have scored on their only power play opportunity up to this point, will now have another.
And the Kings are trying to put pressure on by throwing the puck into the corner, moving two players right in deep. It was just a case where Goring tried to get free out in front to be able to take a pass from the corner, and Greg Jolly got his stick and arms wrapped around him, wound up getting a penalty. Kind of a surprising penalty, Bruce, because Medill, the referee, has been letting a lot go lately, and this wasn't really a flagrant mistake.
Well, it's called interference to Jolly. 7 minutes, 36 seconds, the time of the penalty. Marcel Dionne comes out with Taylor and Mike Murphy over on the left side. Red Wings have Dale McCord in to take the face-off. Dionne won the draw. It's still in the Detroit zone. Here's Taylor. Played it off the side of the net to Simmer. Simmer bringing it in along the board, skated it into the circle, handed it back to Taylor. Taylor's pass, though, broken up by the wings, Perry Miller, and Miller shoots it to the length of the ice. Now Paul Woods comes on replacing Sobchuk. So it's Woods and McCord as penalty killers. Butch Goring. Goring, a right side pass. Over the line is Taylor. Dave Taylor heads to the corner, deep in the Detroit zone. Simmer brought it right out of the goal mouth. They battle there for it. It's knocked away by Larson, who clears it out to center ice. And the Kings have had the pressure on. Now moving back down the ice, Hallward. He was knocked down, but Dionne picks up the loose puck, brought it right out in front. And Rutherford stood his ground and made a big save off Dionne. Now back at the point, Butch Goring. Goring hands it to Dionne. Right out in front to Taylor. And the puck knocked away out in front of the goal. Rutherford may have got a piece of it, but a big play by the Kings. And the Wings knocked it away. 50 seconds remaining in the penalty. Los Angeles dangerous. Center ice pass coming out to Taylor. Taylor into the Detroit zone. Here's Taylor pulling up along the boards, waiting. Dumping it off the side of the net to Charlie Simmer. Simmer had a power play goal, his last chance. Now it's Dionne battling for it. Reed Larson goes in along the boards with him. The puck hauled away. Simmer got a stick on it, but Peter Mahovlich intercepts. Now Mahovlich moves out. He's got Miller with him. Miller pulls back defensively as Peter Mahovlich carries in. Mahovlich spun around a bit, handed it back out center ice, and Larson has it there. Mahovlich was hit by Simmer. There's going to be... No, they're going to call a penalty evidently on Mahovlich as a delayed call. No, I'm sorry. It will be on Simmer, and the Los Angeles player is going to go off. And that'll even them up with 12 seconds remaining in the penalty to Jolly, and we'll be back in just a moment. Well, it's early in the season. I was afraid for a moment that the penalty was going the other way, but Medill was on top of it all the time. So Simmer goes off for slashing at 9:24. Each team short a man. Jolly's penalty is up in just 5 seconds. Mike Murphy, when chasing after the puck into the Detroit zone, Rutherford came out of the net to play it away. Into the corner it goes now. Willie Huber handing it off to Nedemansky. He was turned around. Nedemansky being bothered by Goring. Detroit has the extra man now. It's still deep in the Detroit end as Huber retreats in behind his own goal. Hands it off to Mahovlich. Back to Huber, ahead to Nedemansky. Coming out center ice with LeBratton. Nedemansky over the line. He's checked right there. LeBratton dug the puck away. Back on the line now to Barry Long. Long handed it to Nedemansky. He played it in the corner right out in front. And a pretty pass from LeBratton to Mahovlich. And Mahovlich tied up, couldn't get a shot. There's a shot by LeBratton in front. Another penalty coming up. A high sticking call to Peter Mahovlich. Well, Mahovlich was fighting for position out in front of the goal. And he's going off.
Boy, and that's where Peter Mahovlich is of real value to the Red Wings. He was just trying to hold his ground out in front of the crease, and he was taking quite a whacking from the Los Angeles defenseman. But the referee elected to give it to Peter, even these penalties out. Danny LeBratton had an excellent chance to put the Wings ahead 3-2 on a quick shot. Well,
had given Peter 4 minutes.
Number 11, James Mahovlich, 2 minutes, high sticking, 2 minutes, unsportsmanlike conduct.
Well, 2 for high sticking and 2 for unsportsman. Mahovlich really unhappy. Dale McCord arguing with the referee out at center ice.
Well, I can see where he would be unhappy. I know they were both giving one another the business. Peter had his stick wrapped up around the defenseman's neck, and at the same time, he had been taking it out in front trying to hold his ground.
Bobby Crom really upset in behind the Detroit bench.
That's a call, Bruce, that is strictly up to the referee, and
9 times out of 10, both men will go off
right,
if they're going to call
because
it.
they really start whacking one another, and the defenseman protecting the front of the net, he tries to show that he's tough, and at the same time, the player that's trying to hold his ground there has to keep his lumber up to show that he belongs there. So.
Well, 1:10 remaining in Simmer's penalty. Then Mahavlich will have still about 3 minutes to serve, a little less than that, in his double minor. Puck knocked away out in front, and making quite a defensive play was very long in front of the Detroit goal. Coming back now, Greg Jolly carrying into the Los Angeles end. Nedemansky with a shot wide. Puck came off the board. San Laurent picks it up, drops it back now to Hardy. Hallward it is. He fired from center ice a long shot that Rutherford handles cleanly. Played it into the corner for Nedemansky. Deep in the Detroit end, Nedemansky handed it in behind his own goal to Jolly. 30 seconds left in the Los Angeles penalty. Each team still short a man. Now pass ahead to McCord over on the left side. Here's a shot by Nedemansky, and he fired it wide as Lassard came out and missed it, but the shot was wide. Greg Jolly back along his own blue line. Hands it off to Long. 15 seconds left in the Los Angeles penalty. The play deep in the Detroit end as Jolly circles in behind Rutherford. Now Greg Jolly moving out center ice for Detroit. Here's Jolly. He lost the puck as it went into the Los Angeles zone. Picked up by McCourt, but he just couldn't get loose. Simmer's back on, and now Los Angeles has the extra man. Here's Simmer carrying into the Detroit zone. Simmer trying to work through. Took a shot that went wide. McCourt took it off the boards. He was bumped by San Laurent. Picked it up a second time. Hands it to Barry Long, and Long finds the opening and clears it back into the Los Angeles end with 2.5 minutes left in the double minor to Peter Mahavlich. Mahavlich standing up in the penalty box, yelling out to his team. Now Dion at center ice, turning there. 2-2 tie, but the Kings are the extra man for a little more than 2 minutes. The pass over on the left side to Charlie Simmer. Now Simmer played it to the line, knocked down there by Reed Larson. Larson got it loose to center ice. Dion played it back to his own blue line. Hallward over on the left side to Simmer. He dumps it in the corner in the Detroit zone. 1:55 in the penalty. Play came back to the point for Butch Goring. Goring hands it off now to Taylor, the side of the net to Simmer, right out in front. And Larson deflected it away with Rutherford's help. Here's Simmer in behind the Detroit goal again. Larson knocked him down. Dion picks up the loose puck. Back on the point on the left side to Hallward. Now back to Dion. It got away from him. The Wings failed to get it out. Having trouble with it was Larson. So it stays deep in the Detroit end. Larson covered up in his man. Sobchak goes in along the boards with Dion. They hold it there. Face off in the circle to the right of the Detroit goal with 1.5 minutes remaining in the penalty to Detroit's Peter Mahavlich.
Reed Larson did just what a defenseman is supposed to do when they are deep in the zone and having trouble and they're short-handed like that. Knock the player down, get the body into him, and freeze the puck. Don't just try and make little passes out to your forwards. The big thing is to freeze the puck and get a face-off and give your team a chance to make their line changes if they want, or defensive changes.
Did that goal that we gave to Taylor, because that's the way they announced it, now has been changed. It's Simmer's goal, so he's got both goals in this game. That's the one that bounced off of him.
Right.
Well, the Wings have struggled to hold off the Los Angeles power play. 1.5 minutes remaining.
They're not going to let Dale McCourt make a change. Dale McCourt tried to get off the ice. He waited too long, and they were just ready to get started, and he decided to come off the ice, and they're not going to let him make a change. So
McCourt went in with San Laurent. Puck stays in the Detroit zone. They hold it in along the board. San Laurent got it loose. Here's Murphy in behind the goal. Puck goes into the corner again. In after it is Goldup. Off the side of the net, the opposite corner to Murphy. And Reed Larson intercepted and played it ahead. And here's Woods bringing it out to center ice for Detroit. Paul Woods is a penalty killer. Shot it into the Los Angeles zone. The Kings have it there. Now it's Hallward again. Good-looking young player. Goldup's pass knocked away, but carried in by Murphy with a shot. He sailed it wide. Goldup takes it off the boards. In behind the net. San Laurent missed it, and McCourt goes after it. Dale McCourt failed to get it out. Dion was spun around by Paul Woods. Here now is San Laurent going right in, and he shot wide. Puck came back to the line. Hallward holds it there. 40 seconds left in the penalty. San Laurent doing battle with Miller out in front of the Detroit goal. Now Goldup played it to the side of the net. Put out in front by Murphy. Going after it was Miller. Miller is tied up by San Laurent. Puck came back to Dion. Back on the blue line to Hallward. Howard hands it back on the point. Dion with a shot, and Rutherford reaches up and grabs it just the top of the crossbar and holds on, and 22 seconds remain in the penalty. 6 minutes and 8 seconds in the second period, and the game remains a 2-2 tie.
And Los Angeles, they have a very potent power play. They move that puck around. They get it out to the point, cross to the... try to get Dion free at the side of the net or over in the corner. And the Wings, I think, have made one mistake deep in their own zone when they're killing the penalty. Instead of taking the player right out of the zone, they're more or less trying to stick check him and play safe and make him pass the puck. But with players that have the hockey sense that a guy like Dion or Goring have, you've got to get your body into him and get your arms. You got to gamble that they won't call a double penalty on you at this stage, because they're too dangerous just to leave alone. You got to knock them down every chance you get.
So the face-off stays in the circle off to the left of the Detroit goal. Dion, Taylor, and Simmer up front. Goring and now Rob Palmer back at the point for Los Angeles. The Wings have Woods and McCourt as penalty killers. Tommy Bergman and Reed Larson. Now McCourt won the draw but didn't get it out. Goring held it in at the line, hands it off to Taylor right out in front, and he failed to get a shot away, and falling down, Tommy Bergman still managed to scoop the puck back into the Los Angeles end. 7 seconds remaining, and Mahovlich has 2 penalties. Woods turned his man Goring around. Here's Dion carrying back into the Detroit zone. He was tied up by Larson. Now the penalty is over. Mahovlich is back on. He dropped the puck off at center ice, but Simmer covered up on Tommy Bergman. Here's Mahovlich knocking it away in the Los Angeles zone. That the Kings will clear it back out center ice. Going after it is Carlson. Tommy Bergman in after him. The puck went loose. Glenn Hicks played it to the line, but not out. Wings failed to work it out the first time. Now Mahovlich has Sobchuk on the move. Coming up the left side is Hicks. Here's Glenn Hicks chasing the puck into the corner in the Los Angeles zone. He missed a check thrown by Taylor. Still he battles for it. Mahovlich worked it back to the line. Bergman couldn't hold it in, and it's out at center ice. Little more than 5 minutes to go in the second period. Sobchuk of Detroit turns around, shot it in behind the Los Angeles goal, and the Kings going after it. Now moving out. Hopkins cleared it out center ice, broken up. Glenn Hicks of the Wings. Now Hicks was spun around by Carlson, cleared it off the boards, but it was knocked away at the blue line. This time Barry Long of Detroit bounces it into the Los Angeles end. Randy Holt goes in after it, and now the Kings move out. Moving out center ice, Holt being bothered by Sobchuk. Puck slides deep into the Detroit end. Going in after it, Carlson, and they called an icing against Los Angeles, and the Kings will argue that. While they do, we'll pause for this message. Bruce Martin along with Sid Abel and our director-producer Marvin Muse here at the Forum in Inglewood, California. And while we have the opportunity, Sid and myself and Marvin and Al Coates along beside us join all of the Red Wing organization, including
Carol,
Ted Lindsay
Carol, Donna, Barbie. Say hello to Kathy Best.
Yes, giving Kathy our very best wishes, recuperating from surgery, and about as strong a gal as I know. She'll be back taking care of things at Olympia before very long.
No doubt about that. Ted Lindsay wanted me to say hello to a very special friend of his, to Jeff Stevenson back Detroit way.
Face off to the left of the Los Angeles goal. Mahovlich is out again with Thompson and Foligno. Puck slides down the ice, deep into the Detroit end. Very Long being outgunned by Goring. Goring put it right out in front. And getting a piece of the shot by Goldup, Rutherford knocked it away. Big play by Los Angeles. Now Mahovlich, a right-wing pass. Foligno carried over the line. Dropped it back from Mahovlich toward the corner. Here along the line, Very Long. Long fired it into the opposite corner. Foligno went in after it. Hit the side of the net trying to center it. And Goring digs it out of the corner. 4 minutes to go in the period. Harold Thompson knocked it away, so Barry Gibbs cleared it out on the right side. Mike Murphy sends it out center ice, and here's Goldup moving with it. Glenn Goldup took a long shot. Rutherford grabs that. Now Jimmy Rutherford drops it to the ice and plays it to Barry Long. Long, a right-wing pass. Foligno missed it. And it's Rich Mulhern who cleared it back into the Detroit zone. There'll be an icing call as Greg Jolly goes back to touch it, and the play will come back into the Kings' end. The game is tied at 2-2.
It's been a good hockey game. Up and down, both goaltenders have been called to make saves. Just enough rough stuff in it to make it interesting.
Very Long, we've talked about a few times, Sid. He's not a youngster. He's 30 years of age. He played for the Los Angeles Kings back in the 73-74 season, roundabout in there. I guess from 72 to 74, and he's been in the World Hockey Association the last few seasons, but steady sort of a performer.
Yes, he has played excellent hockey in world hockey. He has to adopt his style of play now back to the National League, Bruce. Years ago, he used a real short hockey stick for a defenseman, and there was always talk that he would have to get a man's stick to play a man's job, and I understand now that he has done that, so he could help this club an awful lot.
Now it's McCourt, LeBratton, and Nedemansky for the Wings. The linesman stopped the play right at the Los Angeles blue line. And so Fulmer turns back out with a pass to Dion. Back into the Detroit zone. Dion trying to go through his check. Checked by Reed Larson. Larson clears it ahead, and Nedemansky starts LeBratton down the left side. LeBratton trying to work around Fulmer. Goes to the corner, in behind the net. LeBratton struggles to hold it in the Los Angeles zone. They take it in along the board. Reed Larson failed to keep it in, but Nedemansky does. Handed it back to Larson, who carries to the blue line. Dumped it out in front. That's knocked down by Mulhern. And the puck gloved ahead, and so they'll hold the face-off right out in front of Lessard in the Los Angeles goal with 2 minutes, 54 seconds to go in the second period.
You know, there's been times that there's been a knock against Danny LeBratton that he didn't like the rough going. Well, I think Danny LeBratton is a player that really belongs in the National League. He is an excellent skater, and he just proved that he's as tough as the fellow next door to him, because he goes around behind. He takes the elbows and the punishment going in the corners, and he fights for every inch that he gets. He's one of the exciting hockey players on this Red Wings
The goal
team.
he scored in the first period, he had to muscle his way in.
Right.
He was being whacked around pretty good then. Well, a big face-off right directly in front of Lessard. San Leroy goes in against Sobchuk of the Red Wings. Sobchuk won the draw. Tommy Bergman with a shot, knocked away out in front. Now look out, here's Marson breaking over the line into the Detroit zone. Rutherford way out of the goal. But still, the puck was knocked away, and now Woods starts Polonich back over the line into the Los Angeles end with a shot. Lessard grabs that. He held on for a while and played it into the corner. Sobchuk played it back toward the line. Willie Huber's shot was blocked. Now Marson moves again, and Jimmy Rutherford again way out of the net to grab the puck and hold on just about 5 feet from the blue line, and he's going to get a penalty.
Yes, he's not allowed to come out and stop play like that far out of his net. But it was a very gutty play on Jimmy Rutherford's part. If he would have frozen the puck with his pads and everything, the fact that I think he grabbed it with his big gloved hand and stopped play.
Now Rutherford is really arguing with referee Greg Medill. He'll lose that. It'll be, I imagine, a delay of game.
I'm surprised that Jimmy Rutherford would come that far out of his net. There was a race for the puck that time. I don't know whether Marson would have beaten the defender for the Red Wings back to it or not.
Number 1, Jim Rutherford. 2 minutes minor for
But the Wings had opened up, Bruce, just a little bit too much with 2 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the second period. They shouldn't be getting their defensemen caught up in center ice to give players breakaways where it's a race, and the goaltender being forced to come out that far out of his net to save the day.
Dennis Polonich moves over to serve the penalty for Rutherford, called at 17:35 for delay of game. Dale McCourt comes out to say something to the referee now. They've not been too happy with first the double call to Mahavlich and now the call on Jimmy Rutherford, but he did indeed skate almost to the blue line to grab the puck, and he held onto it there. So he picks up a delay of game penalty.
I believe if he had just smothered the puck with his body, I don't think they could call a penalty for that. But the fact that he grabbed it, I could be wrong. I'm going to have to get the rule book.
Now the play is in the Detroit zone. Here's Mike Murphy in the circle with a shot knocked away. It rolled to the corner. Dale McCourt goes in with San Leroy. They jam it in along the boards. Murphy got into it, and then with Paul Woods trying to go after it, he's sent to the ice, and they are down on top of the puck, and the play will stay in the circle to the right of the Detroit net.
Charles Contineri wanted to say hello to all the bridge fellas at the Detroit Ambassador Bridge. He was up, and Scott and Nell Kramer to people in Southfield. Ken and Barb Wagner want to say that they're back in the Wings all the way.
Now the Wings win the draw, and Perry Miller shoots at the length of the ice. Well, there are 4 new teams in the National Hockey League this year, and we're going to be taking a look at all the divisions between the second and third periods of this game. Like to have you stay with us. Reed Larson, right at center ice, picked up the loose puck, cleared it back into the Los Angeles end, and a minute and a half remains in Rutherford's penalty time. Now Rob Palmer was slowed up by Dale McCord. Matter of fact, stopped by him. Woods got into it. They hold the puck in along the boards again. The Kings draw it loose. Coming out with it is Hallward. Hallward brought it out to center ice to San Laurent. He got it over the line. He's checked there. Dale McCord fires it back out. Here's Woods going after a loose puck. Taking it in. Fired a shot, and Lestard just got a piece of that and sent it wide. Now coming back is Palmer. Palmer, a left side pass to Glenn Goldup. Goldup carrying into the Detroit zone, trying to go around Reed Larson. Put it out in front, but Miller knocked it away. Here's a shot by Hallward, and Rutherford kicked that out. Hallward put it right on the stick of Larson, and Larson gave it right back to him. And the pass went astray by the Kings, and so Perry Miller fired it down the ice. And it was just giveaway on the part of both teams for a moment. A minute to go in the period, and a half a minute now remaining in the penalty time. Wings short a man is Butch Goring. Ahead to Taylor into the Detroit zone. Peter Mahovlich knocked it away. Goring holds it in at the point. His pass, though, broken up by Perry Miller. Miller, as a man open, didn't get it to him. He had Errol Thompson breaking down the ice and just didn't hit him with a pass. So the play stays now on the Los Angeles end as Zimmer heads out. 10 seconds left in the Detroit penalty. Over the line is Taylor, being chased by Barry Long. Taylor tied up by Long. Mahovlich went on after it, didn't control it. Now it's Mulhern. Penalty is over. The Red Wing player Polonich is out. There's a shot knocked away by Rutherford. Kicked into the goal, but it'll be waved off. No goal, says referee Medill.
I think he was standing right on the crease with Jimmy Rutherford. It was knocked down into the crease. There was two players standing right on the crease with him, and finally they put the puck in the net. But Medill had blown the whistle, I'm sure, before the puck went in the net.
He made a quick movement to show no goal. The puck was in behind Rutherford, but in that scramble, I think it was perhaps kicked in, or they had the man in the goal crease. Man was right there in the crease, I guess.
I think he had stopped the play. Whistle had gone before the play was put in the net.
Well, let's pause briefly for this message.
Fred, the Unknown Comic joins Make Me Laugh tomorrow at 11 p.m. on TV 50.
Both teams at full strength. 20 seconds to go in the period. Game tied 2-2. There's a shot from the blue line, deflected right on the net. Rutherford knocks it away. Tommy Bergman picks it up, scoops it out center ice. 10 seconds to go in the period. Marson played it back into his own zone, and Barry Gibbs cleared it ahead center ice. Rather, Tommy Bergman intercepted there, handed it off to Errol Thompson. Thompson just circles around in the center ice zone as the buzzer goes to end. A good second period of action. And so here's the second period scoring summary brought to you by Magnavox and Predator Appliance Stores. With the first period ending, the game tied at 1-1, and a goal by Charlie Zimmer, another by Detroit's Danny LeBratton. Zimmer put Los Angeles back out in front at 2:10 of the period on a rather fluke goal in which Hallward shot from the blue line, and Zimmer was out in front of the net, and it bounced in behind Rutherford off the Los Angeles forward. Then at 5:31 of the period, Errol Thompson, taking a pretty pass, skated over the line, broke in on top of Mario Lessard, beat him cleanly, and it was Thompson from Foligno and Huber at 5:31 to tie the game at 2-2, and that's the story at the end of the second period. And we'll be back to the Forum here in Inglewood, California in just a moment. at Abel, we have seen the Detroit Red Wings, the 1979-80 edition, for 40 minutes thus.
A taste of wine, women, and suspense.
Then we realized he couldn't put.
It's hard to believe that another summer has rolled by so quickly, but that it has. And again, we welcome you to another season of Detroit Red Wing hockey. It was just a year ago that we were saying the very same thing. We were looking forward to what we hoped was going to be a good season for the Detroit Red Wings, but it just didn't turn out that way. Detroit faltered rather badly through portions of the season. This year, well, I, for one, am just a little bit optimistic. The Wings have a little more solid club, and if you had an opportunity to watch them as camp, as I did a few times, they have a great attitude among the players and the coaches and their general manager. It should be a fun season. The league itself has a new look. They have some new faces. They have some old ones that are gone. And we have 4 brand new teams in the National Hockey League, so let's take a moment or two right now just to see what's in store for hockey fans this season. The Wings, of course, will remain in the Norris Division, the division which still will be hard-pressed to catch the Montreal Canadiens, even with the absence of the retired goaltender Kenny Dryden, with the absence of Jacques Lemaire, who has gone on to Europe to play his hockey there, and, of course, Scotty Bowman, who deserted the coaching ranks at Montreal to head for Buffalo, leaving the job there to Bernie Geoffrion. The Los Angeles Kings, as we've been watching tonight, even more of a rival for the Detroit Red Wings, with the former wing Andre Saint-Laurent joining Marcel Dion in the lineup. The Pittsburgh Penguins will remain tough, and it'll be fun to watch Nick Libet in the new uniform there. In Hartford a part of the picture now, and this is going to be interesting for Detroit Red Wing hockey fans, as well as myself and Sid and all the rest of us around the picture, to see the Howe family in the National Hockey League for the first time. Mark Howe has been a perennial challenger for the scoring lead of the World Hockey Association, and his brother Marty has been a regular hard-nosed defenseman. And whether or not he plays, Papa Gordy is going to be welcome to any place he goes, anywhere in hockey, including the National Hockey League again. It's going to be interesting to see how these former WHA players and teams will fare against the National Hockey League competition. And we have the Adams Division, where the Boston Bruins have been the champions the last couple of seasons. They'll try again this year, but they'll have to do it without their coach, Don Cherry, who moved on to Colorado to be replaced by Freddie Creighton, who was fired as the Atlanta coach at the end of last season. If anything should be against the Boston Bruins' chances to repeat, it might be the fact that age-wise, they're the oldest in the entire National Hockey League. Buffalo is going to be interesting this season, of course, with the new leadership under the former Montreal coach, as we mentioned, Scotty Bowman. The Minnesota North Stars had the most improved record in the National Hockey League last season, and over the summer they didn't do anything to hurt themselves, so they could be tough. Punch Imlach is the new general manager, and Floyd Smith, the new coach with the Toronto Maple Leafs, so it's another whole new regime there. And if Mike Palmateer keeps playing goal as well as he did a season ago, well, then the Leafs are going to stay tough. And another new club to the National Hockey League, we talk about the Quebec Nordiques. Now, this is a pretty good hockey team with players the caliber of Mark Tardif, of Robbie Fatorik, who was with the Red Wings some seasons ago, Jerry Hart, who went on from the New York Islanders, and Réal Cloutier. He's called Buddy, and he's a good one. This fellow Cloutier led the World Hockey Association in scoring last year with a total of 129 points, 75 goals, 54 assists, and that's a pretty good record in anybody's league. You put him on the same team with Fatorik, and you have the league's 2 top scorers from a season ago. So we have the Norris and the Adams division for this season. We still have another 11 teams to take a look at, and we'll be doing that in just a moment. And so we have 21 teams in the National Hockey League this season. Every team to play every other one 4 times, twice at home and twice away. And when the regular season is all over, 16 of the 21 teams are going to make the playoffs. Only 5 will be eliminated, those 5 with the least number of points at the end of the regular season. So there'll be some narrowing down before the Stanley Cup playoffs really get underway. Let's go back to the divisions and talk about the Patrick. This is the only division without a new team this year. The Philadelphia Flyers, they may not be the power of old, but they still have a fellow named Bobby Clark, and he's proven to be one of the great leaders in the game of hockey today. The New York Islanders, you still have to consider them tough for the likes of Brian Trottier, of Mike Bossy, Clark Gillies. A lot of folks say they may be the new champions. and the Rangers under Fred Sherrill. They could be even better than the team that gave the Montreal Canadiens so much trouble in the playoffs last season. The Atlanta Flames, they have a new coach in Al McNeil, and they remain one of the more physical teams in the National Hockey League today. And the Washington Capitals, who have moved from the Norris Division to the much tougher Patrick Division, the Caps will have trouble moving up in this division against the likes of the Islanders, the Rangers, the Flyers, and the Flames, but they could well make the playoffs. Then we have the Smythe Division, where maybe Washington should have gone. This is the weakest of the four divisions. Teams like Vancouver. The Canucks may be some improved, but they're not likely to beat out the Chicago Blackhawks. The Hawks with a new coach in Eddie Johnston, they should win their division very easily. The St. Louis Blues, they had their problems last season, and if Gary Unger leaves them, they may have a way to go yet to improve themselves to becoming a contender of any sort. Maybe one of the most interesting franchises, I guess the most interesting in the National Hockey League this season to me, is going to be the Colorado Rockies. They've had problems at the gate. They've threatened to leave Denver to go to the east, the New York area. But when they hired Don Cherry as their new coach in the offseason, ticket sales went up immediately, and so have the hopes of the Rockies. They've had a young defenseman added to their roster, too, in the draft. His name is Rob Ramage, and he's supposed to be a great one. He was the #1 pick in the draft this year. And we have two new teams, Edmonton and Winnipeg. Edmonton was the best team in the World Hockey Association last year. Their #1 hero is an 18-year-old youngster. His name is Wayne Gretzky. This kid last year finished third in overall scoring of the entire World Hockey Association with 46 goals and 64 assists. He's a youngster with a great deal of poise, and as an underage draft, he proved himself in the World Hockey Association. It's going to be interesting to see how he handles himself in the National Hockey League. He's a pretty good example of a very young Edmonton team. And the other WHA entry, also in the Smythe Division, the Winnipeg Jets. A new coach, Tom McVie. He is not a stranger to the National Hockey League. He coached a while for Washington. Winnipeg will not be a pushover, and one of the reasons is a fellow named Morris Lukowich. Here's a young guy who scored 65 goals and added 34 assists last year for the Jets. That was 6th best in the entire World Hockey Association. Lukowich, along with Peter Marsh, Peter Sullivan, Willie Lindstrom, will be the scoring threats for this club. They'll be joining what looks to be a pretty physical bunch put together by General Manager John Ferguson. And so we will be looking this season at 21 teams. There will be surprises, there will be good moments, there will be disappointments for some of them along the way. It's going to be an interesting season. I know it's going to be an exciting one, and I hope that you'll plan to be with us just as often as you possibly can. Well, according to my little old TikTok here, in about 10 minutes, it's going to be 1 o'clock back in the Michigan area. I hope we still have you with us. And we've watched 40 minutes of a pretty good hockey game, considering it's the first 40 minutes that either of these two teams have played in the regular season this year. And Sid, it has not been what I could call a real physical sort of a game.
Well, there have been spots, Bruce, where they've run one another into the boards. But I think the Wings let up a little as far as the actual bodying or getting their bodies out in front of players. And you've got to be so careful with Goring and with Dion and Taylor and Big Charlie Simmer that unless you check them, they get the puck in over the blue line, move in deep, and they take advantage of their point men. They get it back out to the point, and the Wings start to just seem to get confused and start running around. But for 40 minutes, I think the Wings have played an excellent hockey game. This is a building, Bruce, that they haven't played well in the last few years. So let's just hope they can put something together now for 20 minutes and come out with a tie or a win.
I remember, Sid, that when Los Angeles and Oakland first came into the National Hockey League, and you were a definite part of the league at that particular time, it seemed to be the feeling among folks in the powers to be that you really should get out here 3-4 days ahead of a game so that you could acclimate yourself to the time difference, the weather difference, and what have you. That philosophy has changed considerably. The Red Wings came in last night, didn't leave Detroit until 5:30 in the afternoon, so really I know that I went to bed last night about 9 o'clock Los Angeles time, which is midnight back in Detroit, and then wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, which is generally 7, so it's kind of tough.
It is. It's a different type of living out here. You get out and look at your watch and it says 11:15 and you figure, boy, it's time to go to bed, but it's only 8:15 here, and if you stay till 11:15 or 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock, then it is awful late in Detroit. So you just have to get your own system accustomed to it, and it's surprising that the players can do as well as they do. This morning I come over with the team when they had their skate, Bruce, And, boy, I never saw the Wings skate better, and I was hoping that they didn't leave it on the ice at noon, that they would save it for tonight. But it appears, though, we're going to have a real good third period and hopefully a good outcome here.
Well, it's a 2-2 tie at the end of 2 periods, and we're going to be back with the third period action in just a moment. Our guests receive a gift from Magnavox, manufacturers of the finest in electronics and cabinet styling. Each guest receives a certificate for a 12-inch black and white Magnavox television. And so in that second period, Los Angeles outshot the Red Wings 14-8. But the two teams each scored a goal, and as we get ready for third period action, it remains a 2-2 tie. The Red Wings have had a total of 5 penalties, all minors. Los Angeles has had 3. And the two teams getting set now is Jimmy Rutherford, who has stopped all but 2 of the 19 shots fired in his direction thus far. Gets set in the Detroit goal, which in this third period will be off to our left. Bob Berry, who joined the Kings mid-season a year ago, is in behind the Los Angeles bench. And, of course, Bobby Crom in behind the Detroit bench. When the third period gets underway, both teams are going to be at full strength.
Bruce, I thought I'd just run through a few more people that stopped by to say hello. Gary Fleming from Jackson, Joe Berg of Livonia, Keith and Phil Castrovo from want to say hello. Linda and Hank Marcus stopped by the hotel and said to say hello to all the people back. Hi to his family and friends in Detroit from Lloyd Hevelhorst from Seal Beach, California.
Red Wings will start the third period with Peter Mahavlich at center ice. Mike Foligno on the right wing and Errol Thompson on the left side. Tommy Bergman and Willie Huber back along the defense in front of Rutherford. Butch Goring, he's got Gold up on one wing, Murphy on the other. And Barry Gibbs is joined by Rich Mulhern on the defense. Mario Lassard in the net. Play went back into the Detroit zone. Errol Thompson hustles back after it, being bothered by Murphy. Tommy Bergman moved in to help out, and Thompson cleared it on the boards on the right side. Huber had trouble with it, so Foligno took a whack at it and sent it back into the Los Angeles zone. Gibbs will touch it, and an icing call will bring the play back into the Detroit end, off to the right side of Rutherford. Well, if you missed it earlier in the game, there were 4 others played around the National Hockey League tonight. New York Rangers went into Maple Leaf Gardens and beat Toronto 6-3. Winnipeg at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh 4, Winnipeg 2. Atlanta at Quebec. The Flames won that one 5-3. And at Chicago, the Blackhawks defeated Edmonton 4-2. Last night, St. Louis went into Vancouver and beat the Canucks 5-2 in that hockey game. Now it'll be Goring in against Dale McCourt off to the right of Jimmy Rutherford. McCourt won the draw. Willie Huber played it in behind his own net, going in after it, Tommy Bergman. On the left side now to Errol Thompson. Thompson's pass missed. Mahavlich came back to the Detroit line, and then Tommy Bergman tossed it over to an open wing. Puck came back into the Detroit end. Back after it, Peter Mahavlich. Up on the right side to Foligno. Foligno dropped it off for Tommy Bergman. Bergman a pass, and just failing to get to it was Peter Mahavlich as it bounced around a bit. Goldup took a check from Willie Huber. Puck back into the Detroit end. Errol Thompson had it bounce away from him, and here's Murphy playing it behind Goldup. Goldup had to come back center ice to retrieve it. Just turned around, shot it into the Detroit zone. Now Tommy Bergman handed it off. Thompson, right side pass to Willie Huber. Huber shot it into the Los Angeles end, and the Kings go back after it. Doug Hellward playing it over on the right side. Murphy overskated it, went back after it, and this play's been a little ragged here in the early moments of the third period. Marcel Dion turns at his own blue line, drops it back to Howard. Over on the right side, Barry Gibbs hit the referee with it, and the puck ended up in the crowd. Well, that may cost you, Mr. Gibbs.
Yes, Barry Gibbs is a new hockey player on this King team. They have 5 or 6 new players. The Wings, I believe, have 5 dressed that worked with the club last year when you figure Peter Mahavlich and Long.
Foligno,
Hicks.
Yep.
And I'm trying to figure one more.
Well, Tommy Webster, who's not in uniform
That's right.
for the game, but he did make the trip here. Bill Hogebaum is here, did not dress for this game tonight. So too John Hamel. Brent Peterson. Now the play goes off to the side of the Los Angeles goal. The Wings trying to work it into play, and it's in along the back of the Los Angeles net, so that'll keep the face-off still in the King zone off to the left side of Mario Lessard. We have played 1 minute and 44 seconds of the third period, and the game is tied at 2-2. Charlie Simmer has both of the Los Angeles goals on a power play and then one that bounced in off of him. From the face-off, Dion won the draw. Hallward goes into the corner after it and starts out. Being checked by McCourt. Here's Nedemansky taking the loose puck at center ice. And he was stopped immediately by Dion. The puck slid into the corner. LeBratton made the check on the play. It's centered by Nedemansky, but cleared away by Hallward of Los Angeles. His pass knocked away by McCourt. Picked up by LeBratton. Back into the Los Angeles zone with a shot along the ice that Lessard stops. Nedemansky bumped into his man. Picking up the loose puck was Dion. Knocked away. Here's a shot by Nedemansky that went wide as the Wings were forechecking. And now Rob Palmer starts out, dropping it off for defenseman Hallward. Doug Hallward clearing it into the Detroit zone. Going into the corner after it, Dion. He and LeBratton. Puck came out in front, taken there by Nedemansky. Shoveled it ahead to McCord. On the right side, Reed Larson. Larson's over the line, trying to go through, but knocked off balance by Rich Mulhern. And the puck fired out center ice. Good quick pass by Dion. Over the line, Taylor out in front. Taylor with a shot. Well, Jimmy Rutherford evidently didn't think he was going to get the shot away. He didn't make much of a move on it.
Well, I don't think Jimmy Rutherford thought he could get around the two defensemen. Both defensemen were back there, both Perry Miller and Reed Larson. He took a perfect pass just outside the blue line from Dion, and from an angle that where you wouldn't expect him to score, he was off balance. But both defensemen, actually Perry Miller tried to bend and get his hip into him instead of possibly checking him. It was a mistake on that point, I would think. And Jimmy Rutherford, figuring I'm not going to shoot, he just caught the inside the post to put LA ahead.
That's one of those goals that comes. Dion was going to the bench. He found the puck. He just laid it out to Taylor and then skated right to the bench.
Barry Long just stepped into a player, and he's hurt. He's down behind the Red Wing net, and it was Barry Long that stepped into him on a plate along the boards.
Can't pick up the injured player at this moment. While we try, we'll tell you that we are going to pause now 10 seconds for station identification.
WKBD TV 50, Detroit.
The injured player still being tended to in behind the Detroit goal.
And it's Andre St. Laurent, I believe, Bruce, that is down. He got hit straight up by Barry Long on a simple little play behind the Detroit net.
He's popping up, though. So while he does, makes his way back to the Los Angeles bench, we'll pause for this message.
Does American
3 times in this hockey game, the Los Angeles Kings have gone out in front. Twice the Red Wings have come back to tie it. It's now 3-2 with a lot of time remaining. The play is in the Detroit zone. Steve Carlson went into the corner. Puck came loose. Here's Mike Marson with it. Marson turns, heads back to the corner, deep in the Detroit zone. Still working the puck. Back on the line. Mulhern a shot knocked away by Long. Marson dug it out. There's going to be another penalty coming up to Detroit. Mulhern took a shot wide of the Detroit goal. And as Greg Jolly gets to the puck, the penalty is called, and Detroit will play short a man.
And that's a penalty just through Los Angeles forcing the play, and they caused Detroit to make the mistake, and there was a big hook put out to stop Marston when he tried to get in on an angle to take a shot at Jimmy Rutherford. Greg Jolly got the stick hooked up on him and give him a pull back.
Number 24, Greg Jolly.
Getting back to Taylor's goal, it was a play where it just shows the brilliance of Dion. He took a play just outside the blue line, and the minute it hit his stick, he made a perfect pass to Taylor. Taylor cut in between the two defensemen, and I thought Perry Miller, rather than standing his ground and maybe knocking him down, he tried to bend over and give him a hip check. Taylor went around the outside of him, had enough balance to take a little flip shot, feeble shot really, but Jimmy Rutherford probably figured he couldn't score from the angle he was, but he hit the inside the post.
And Dion was at the bench by that time because he threw the pass as he was heading for the bench. So now the play is back in the Detroit zone. The Kings have the extra man. Butch Goring at the line with a shot, and it deflected wide off Rutherford. Simmer goes in along the boards with Tommy Bergman. They had the sticks up high. Back along the blue line, there's Hallward with a shot. He scores! Power play goal, 4-2.
That's the second power play goal of the game for the Kings. That puck was shot from the blue line. I don't know. It went right through Jimmy Rutherford's legs, but it was a case where they just outgunned the Wings for the puck along the boards. They took the puck away from Tommy Bergman.
Play goes back into the Detroit zone. In behind his own net, Tommy Bergman sweeps down the left side for Errol Thompson. A lot of time remaining. Howard from Dion and Simmer at 3:50. It's 4-2. Los Angeles leads. Now the play goes in behind the Los Angeles goal. Barry Gibbs cleared out on the left side to Goldup. He's checked by Huber, and the puck ends up in the crowd. Well, Jimmy Rutherford, who had played very solidly in the first and second period, did not look too sharp on either of the last two goals.
Well, the first goal, the go-ahead goal, Bruce, I think it was a play you'd have to really blame the defenseman for letting the player get into the area where he could score the goal. The last goal, Jimmy, I think, was more involved with where the players were out in front of the net, and the puck was shot from the blue line and went right through his legs. He didn't get the pads closed at all.
Now Foligno held it in. Foligno stripped, and there'll be a penalty coming up to Howard of Los Angeles. As Big Mike Foligno was just making his move in toward Lassard and had the skates pulled out from under him. So now the Red Wings are going to have an opportunity to battle right back into it.
And the Red Wings need this. They need a goal right now. Foligno made a move right there that shows that he is going to be able to play in this league. He just walked around the Los Angeles defenseman Howard, the fellow that scored the goal. And just when he was getting ready to deliver his shot, Howard put the stick out and pulled his feet from under him, and consequently the penalty.
Number 3, Doug Howard.
Big Peter Mahavlich with...
Time 4:42.
So the face... I'm sorry, sir.
I was going to say, it looks like they've changed their power play. They have Larson and McCourt back in the points.
Peter Mahavlich tried to work it back to the point, but it went between the 2-point men, and so back at his own blue line after it is Dale McCourt. And Larson threw it deeper into his own end. McCourt goes back after it, heading out of Peter Mahavlich. Mahavlich coming out center ice, heading over the line, and he lost it right there, and the Kings clear it back into the Detroit zone. Puck rolling off to the side of the Detroit net. Rutherford sweeps it over on the right side. Reed Larson had trouble with it there, and the Kings shoot it back out. Now here's Foligno taking Larson's pass, trying to cut by Rob Palmer, and Palmer ran them off the puck. It's over on the right side, and Murphy cleared it ahead. Goring picks it up. Here's Butch Goring, one man back. That's Larson, and Larson took him off the puck. Coming back now, it's Dale McCourt. He's got Foligno and Errol Thompson. The puck went into the Los Angeles zone. Going in after it is Palmer. They go deep into the corner. Foligno gave his man a bump. They hold it to the boards. Face-off stays to the left of the Los Angeles goal with 1 minute and 2 seconds left in the Kings penalty.
And this is the opportunity now for the Wings. The face-off being deep in LA's zone. They have a chance now to get their point men set at the blue line. LA, even when they're short-handed, they're forechecking. They're breaking the Wings' plays up, way up in center ice. They're not giving Detroit a chance to get into their zone and get established where they can get in, make their moves, get the puck back out to the point men, and see if they can get the extra man free out in front of the net and see if they can score that way.
So it'll be Dale McCourt with Netamansky and LeBratton up front for the Wings. Reed Larson and Peter Mahavlich now back at the left point. While McCourt takes the face-off, then Mahavlich will more than likely move up. McCourt will come back to the point. McCourt in against Dion. The puck went to the far side and kept in at the blue line by Peter Mahavlich. He sent it off the circle to Danny LeBratton over on the right side to Netamansky. Netamansky turns it toward the corner. Back on the line to Peter Mahavlich. Faked the shot, made his move, and he was dumped to the ice. And the puck came back out center ice. Larson back after it. Now Larson, a right side pass, broken up by Rich Mulhern. And the Wings having trouble getting much going with a half a minute left in the penalty. Here's Danny LeBratton down the left side, and he went in ahead of the puck as it bounced off his stick. And that's offside. 29 seconds remaining in the penalty time to Los Angeles' Doug Hallward.
And there's still plenty of time to score a goal.
It'll be McCourt again to take the draw, this time against Mike Murphy. Just over the Los Angeles blue line, 13 minutes, 47 seconds to go. Here in the third period. 2-2 tie coming into the third period, but the Kings have scored twice. Now Reed Larson goes in behind Rutherford, deep in the Detroit end. Dropped it off from McCourt, back to Larson. Reed Larson sends it out center ice to Tommy Bergman. Bergman's pass hit a skate. It bounced into the Los Angeles end, but the Kings wrap it back into the Detroit zone. Larson comes back after it. Now Larson pulled away from Murphy. He sends McCourt out. LeBratton on the left side. McCourt over the line. Dale McCourt, he was stopped right there by Palmer, and Rob Palmer fires it back down the ice. It rolls, and the man is back on, so there will be an icing call as Larson is back to touch it. It's 4-2 Los Angeles. We'll be back in just a moment. Red Wings have Dennis Sobchuk out now to center a line with Paul Woods on one wing and Dennis Polonich on the other side. The puck came out to center ice, stopped there by Tommy Bergman. He hands it off to Willie Huber. It's sent back into the Los Angeles zone. Randy Holt cleared it, not out, kept in at the line. A slip shot by Tommy Bergman knocked away out in front of the goal, came back toward the line. Polonich held it in, slid it into the corner, and Holt goes in after it for the Kings and shoots it down the ice. They waved off the icing. The Wings could have played it, according to the linesman, so Huber has to hustle back after it. His pass coming out to Dennis Polonich over on the left side to Paul Woods. He's still deep in the Detroit end, hands it off now, and here's Willie Huber coming out. Now Huber carries over the line, and that's as far as he got. He was stopped right there, and it's Randy Holt digging it in behind his own net. Puck came out towards center ice, picking it up, Steve Carlson. Here's Marson cutting in. Marson with a shot. He fired that wide. Puck off the glass, ended up in the crowd, and so the face-off comes out over the Detroit blue line.
And this is the only line that Detroit has had out all night long that have been really trying to force the play. Paul Woods and Polonich, they appear as though they're throwing the puck in, moving in deep, trying to cause L.A. problems. You've got to give Los Angeles credit. Goring and Simmer and Leon and those fellas, they moved the puck into the Detroit zone. They're moving in deep, and they're causing the Wings problems in behind their blue line.
And Butch Goring is a chaser. He goes after you all the time. He's out there now with Goldup and Murphy. Puck bounced out to center ice. Hallward shot it right back into the Detroit end. Larson has it there. Now Larson being chased by Goring, hands it off to Barry Long. New Red Wing defenseman stopped at center ice by Mike Murphy, who just shoots it back into the Detroit end, and Larson heads back after it. Now Reed Larson. Over on the right side to Foligno. Big Mike Foligno carried over the line, trying to work around Halyard. Puck went loose toward the corner and is fired all the way down the... Oh, it wasn't fired down the ice. It was stopped by the linesman. And here comes Los Angeles. Goldup with a shot, and he fired it wide. Back on the right point, Rob Palmer holds it in, cleared it in behind the net, and Goldup of Los Angeles digs it out there. Being chased by Barry Long. It came back to the right point for Rob Palmer. He let a shot go, and that went wide. Rebound came all the way out to the blue line, but it's held in there. They shoot it into the corner. Here's Goldup digging it away. Back on the point, Halyard played it into the corner. It goes to the opposite side. Rob Palmer shooting it in behind the Detroit goal. Dug out of a corner again by Goldup. Put it right out in front, and that was knocked away. Still, the Kings with the pressure on. It's cleared to corner once more. A centering pass, and it went through everybody, and Errol Thompson takes it off the board. Now Foligno takes Thompson's pass into the Los Angeles zone. Digging in was Reed Larson. Larson got the puck loose. It's handed off. And Foligno's shot was blocked before it got through. Now Barry Long dumped the long shot that went high and wide of the Los Angeles goal. And the puck slides back into the Detroit end. There'll be an icing call as Reed Larson is back to touch it. So the game 4-2 Los Angeles. 10.5 minutes to go in the third period. We'll be back in a moment. Well, the Red Wings trying to get something going. They move out now with Danny Bolduc, who'll be on the right side of a line with Paul Woods, Glenn Hicks. Puck driven into the corner in the Los Angeles zone. Bolduc held it in. It's bouncing high off the glass. Paul Woods battled to hold it in. It was stopped at the line. Tommy Bergman's shot a weak one knocked away. And Mulhern cleared it out center ice. Picking it up was Steve Carlson. He shot it deep into the Detroit zone. Rutherford came out of the net to clear it along the boards. It goes still deep in the Detroit zone. Paul Woods trying to work it out. Came right out in front. And he was hooked, and there'll be a penalty coming up to the Los Angeles Kings player, Hopkins, who made a little wave at the referee, Greg Medill. And Danny Bolduc skates over, I am sure to say. Now does he get 4 minutes like Peter Mahovlich did?
Yes, and he should get 4 minutes. Here's a rookie coming in the league. He just more or less waved at the referee as though, well, you made a mistake calling a penalty on me. And that's the time to let them know if you're going to be the boss.
And he did get 4
up
minutes.
there. Very good. That's the way it should be called. And this is a golden opportunity for the Wings, but they're going to have to combat the fact that the Kings, while they're killing the penalty, they do so this forecheck, and they break the Wings up before they can get up through center ice. And it's always because of Goring when he's on the ice and Dion when they switch around, and they just seem to put so much pressure. This time it'll be Taylor, and St. Laurent, I guess, is going to come out with Taylor and see if, or Carlson, I should say.
Well, if the Red Wings could score in the first 2 minutes of this penalty time, they would then have another 2 minutes.
That's
because
right.
they're a double minor penalty. 2 minutes for hooking and then 2 for unsportsmanlike conduct to the rookie. Hopkins, Dean Hopkins. So Detroit with a man advantage. Now it's Reed Larson at center ice, but he lost the puck to Carlson, who shoots it back into the Detroit end. Back after it, Dale McCourt. The Wings trail by 2. They have a good possibility here as McCourt starts out and the crowd gets on him. Here's Dale McCourt coming out center ice. A left side pass. Peter Mahovlich couldn't reach it. Kept in at the line by McCourt, but taken away. And the Kings will fire it down the ice, and the Wings have not had the play really inside the Los Angeles end yet. Reed Larson tied up deep in the Detroit zone. The Kings players down on top of the puck. They'll bring the play outside the Detroit blue line with 3:22 to go in the double minor to Hopkins of Los Angeles.
They're being out-hustled right now by Los Angeles. Young Steve Carlson, a player, I think, that belonged to the Wings that jumped to World Hockey last year. He's of that Johnstown Jet fame where they used a bunch of the players for the movie Slapshot. He winds up out here in L.A., and all he's doing pretty well is killing penalties, but he's hustling and working. The Wings are not getting untracked at all. The last power play, I don't think they had a shot on net.
Now it's Dale McCourt moving himself out to center ice, dropping it off for Tommy Bergman. And Peter Mahovlich had to turn around to pick it up. It's cleared along the Los Angeles blue line. They have a jam up of players there. Play is stopped and the face-off stays. So the Wings gained about 15 yards. I guess that's about all you can say for them.
This, I thought, would be probably one of the highlights of their season, Bruce. They appeared when we saw them in training camp that they may have a terrific power play. They've had several opportunities tonight, but they haven't been dangerous at all.
Well, they've got Tommy Bergman out there now, where Ray Larson has been occupying the spot. Puck bounces all the way back out center ice. Detroit hasn't made a threat the first minute and 8 seconds of the penalty. Now here's a long pass on the right side. Nedemansky takes it over the line, took his shot, and that's deflected off Howard up into the crowd. He didn't get a whole lot on that, so the face-off will stay in the circle off to the left side of the Los Angeles goal. And the Wings make a player change now. Errol Thompson comes out with Sobchuk and Foligno. McCourt, and now Nedemansky will come back to play the left point.
And well, if you just note, Bruce, Nedemansky, whether they're checking him awful close or not tonight, Nedemansky hasn't looked like the Nedemansky that we know. He hasn't been instrumental in this game at all.
So he moved over to the right point now. McCourt on the left side. Here's Foligno going into the corner. Foligno moving out in front, centered it. And it went through everybody along the boards, and Mike Murphy picked it up, out-hustled the Wings to it, and cleared it down the ice. 2.5 minutes to go in the penalty time to Hopkins of Los Angeles. And the play broken up by Goring. The puck bouncing loose center ice, and Rich Mulhern just shoots it back in, and Detroit has not threatened. Now again, it's Foligno. Foligno, a right side pass to Dennis Sobchuk. Sobchuk played it to the left side, and moving in just ahead of the pass and offside was Errol Thompson, or he'd have been in cold. 8 seconds remaining in the first of the 2 penalties. Here's Reed Larson coming out now to play the point position.
They just haven't been able to get things organized coming up through center ice. The only chance they had to score was a play that went across through the goal mouth that Foligno made a play, and no one was there to knock it home.
The The rookie Hopkins with still 2:05 to serve, and again the Kings win the draw and shoot it deep into the Detroit zone. Along the boards on the right side now is Reed Larson, his rink-wide pass. Errol Thompson had to go back after that. He dishes it back to Larson. Ahead to Sobchuk. Sobchuk moves out center ice. Then a Sobchuk over the line. Pulls up along the board. Played it back to the point. Into the corner now. It goes to Foligno. Foligno put it out in front to Sobchuk. To Errol Thompson. He scores! Power play goal. Finished off by Thompson. And now the Wings are back in it. It is 4-3.
This is going to make an interesting 7 minutes and 42 seconds now, because that puck, they threw it around 2 or 3 times when they got in. It come across through the goal mouth, and Errol Thompson was right there on the spot to score his second goal of the night. Foligno had a chance first, but Errol Thompson beat Lassard. Lassard flat on his back. Foligno will draw one of the assists. It wasn't by any means a smooth passing play, but they did get it out in front of the net, and Thompson whacked it home.
Well, as Lassard was going down, I think he may have gotten a piece of it.
Detroit goal, a power play goal to number 12. Errol
Thompson's second goal of the evening.
Assist to number 17, Mike Foligno. Number 20, Václav
Nedomansky, along with Foligno, draws an assist on the goal. So now it is 4-3, and the Wings battling their way back in. Here's Willie Huber, a quick pass ahead, moving in. Glenn Hicks. He took the shot, and Lassard came out and grabbed the puck. Well, Hicks really didn't have full control of it. It was bouncing off his stick as he was trying to cut in, and Lassard made a good move on him.
He come awful close to tying it up. They left the center ice zone open again, and Hicks just jumped in between both defensemen. While he couldn't get it over onto his forehand, he had the defenseman beat. While trying to get control of the puck, Lassard smothered it.
Paul Woods now is centering Bolduc and Hicks.
There's some speed in this line. All 3 of these players can really tramp, so they'll probably try to forecheck if the defenseman can stay inside the blue line.
Marson moved in too quickly, so they stopped the face-off before it ever got underway. Woods in against Steve Carlson. Carlson won the draw, goes into the corner. Mulhern's pass was knocked away by Bolduc, but picked up by the Kings, who clear it back down the ice. In behind his own goal now, the Wings. Hicks trying to move out, coming down the right side on the wrong wing. Ahead it comes to Paul Woods. Woods shooting it along the boards. In behind the Los Angeles goal, Barry Gibbs went in after it. Bolduc knocked down his clearing pass. Paul Woods went to the ice along with the Los Angeles player. They're on top of the puck. The face-off stays in the circle off to the right of the Detroit goal. We have 6 minutes, 53 seconds to go. The Kings lead it 4-3. Paul Woods in against Carlson. Puck was knocked, or rather the face-off stopped again just as the puck was dropped. The Wings have Barry Long and Willie Huber back along the blue line. Perry Miller has not been back in the game, Sid, since the Taylor goal. And you perhaps saw the same thing that Bobby Crom did, was a little unhappy.
Yes, I would think so. I don't know if there's a player that works harder than Perry Miller, but he did make a mistake on that goal.
Going down the ice, Mike Marson fell down, slid across the blue line before the puck carrier, so that's offside. So while they straighten things out, it's 4-3 Los Angeles, and we're back in just a moment. While we're away, Errol Thompson skated over to the scorer's bench, then talked to the referee, so there may be a change in that goal. Thompson from Foligno and Nedomansky, as it was announced. At any rate, it's still 4-3. There's a shot from center ice that hit the line, or rather the referee. Puck came right out in front of the Detroit goal, swept over to Foligno. Now Mike Foligno bringing it out to center ice. Kid's got good moves. Foligno around Mike Murphy, still going with it. Here's Foligno. He played it ahead to Peter Mahavlich. But Mahavlich in too close to the pass, and it's dumped out to center ice. Now Tommy Bergman shot it back in, and Howard, who's played a strong game defensively for Los Angeles, stopped that. Wings shoot it back in again. Going in after it now is Rob Palmer. Palmer played it right out in front of his goal to Howard, over on the left wing to Glenn Goldup. Now Foligno went in, knocked him off stride. Palmer covers up in behind his own net. Cleared it on the left wing to Glenn Goldup, who just scoops it back into the Detroit end. A rolling puck and going after it. The Red Wings Reed Larson. Larson circling in behind Rutherford. He fanned on a pass, picked it up himself. Now carried it out to center ice, hands it off to Thompson over on the right side. And that was broken up right at the Los Angeles blue line. Here's Simmer bouncing it into the Detroit zone, digging in after it. Taylor got Dion out in front of the goal, but Tommy Bergman knocked the Los Angeles player Taylor to the ice, fell on top of him. Play stopped, and the face-off stays to the left of the Detroit goal.
Number 14, Dennis Sobchak, and Lua, number 20.
It'll be Sobchak who gets the assist rather than Nedemansky. So Thompson from Foligno and Sobchak at 12-18.
And the Wings are going to have to put pressure on now with 5 minutes and 33 seconds to go.
There's a shot from the blue line fired by Gibbs and knocked away by Rutherford. Now Nedemansky played it toward the corner. Willie Huber dumped it into the opposite corner for Barry Long. He fanned on a pass, and the Kings are dangerous again. Here taking it into the corner, Taylor back on the line. It comes, and Mulhern with a shot that deflected wide. Puck stays still deep in the Detroit zone. Going in behind the goal was Marcel Dion. Off to Taylor. Taylor dumped it in the corner to Dion again. They're still deep in the Red Wing zone. Puck knocked away by Danny LeBratton, but not out. Taylor held it in. Now Taylor being checked by McCourt. Swings it in behind the Detroit net to Charlie Simmer. Back it goes now to Taylor. Taylor failed to hold it, though, and here's Nedemansky moving out, one-on-one with Mulhern. Over the line, he took the shot, and Lassard stopped that. He fired it from a long ways out. And the Kings just clear it back to center ice. Nedemansky elected to take the long shot. Here he's winding up again. Took another long shot, and Lassard cleared that away. Nedemansky went in after it, played it right out in front of the net. But the Wings couldn't get to it, and the Kings shoot it out center ice. Reed Larson's pass to Nedemansky knocked away. The play's been whistled down offside. We'll be back after we pause now for this.
By sea and by land, National Geographic explores the untouched wilderness of the Salmon River. Friday night at 8 on TV 50.
We have 4 minutes and 26 seconds still to play here in the third period. Los Angeles leads the hockey game 4-3. Now the Kings clear it out center ice. Steve Carlson played it over on the right side. Failing to get loose was Hopkins. He picked it up again. Shot it wide of the Detroit net. And Dennis Sobchak of the Wings goes in behind his own goal after it. Now Sobchak played it ahead, and here picking it up was Reed Larson. Larson fired it off the boards. It hit the side of the Los Angeles goal. Lassard came out of his net to clear it away. Going after it, Mike Marson. Marson's pass bounced off the boards, goes all the way down the ice, but not far enough for an icing, so Tommy Bergman will play it. Tommy's pass picked up now by Paul Woods. He's got Polonich coming up the right side over the line into the corner of the Los Angeles end. He centered it, and Sobchak couldn't get away from Hopkins. Hopkins' pass taken away. Here's Carlson moving down with Marson. They're 2-on-1. Marson right out in front, and Rutherford got a piece of his shot and deflected it wide. Good move by Jim Rutherford. Still the play is deep in there, and Sobchak came in and flattened the Los Angeles player Hopkins. And the Wings clear it down the ice this time, but it went right to the goal. Lassard had to stop it. 3:15 to go. Here in the third period, 4-3, the Kings lead. Now back over the line is Goldup with a shot, and that hit the goalpost to the left of Jimmy Rutherford and came all the way back to the Los Angeles end. Now intercepting Foligno back into the King zone, but he was stopped by Goring. Puck came back to the Detroit blue line. Willie Huber back after it, handing it now to Barry Long. Long cleared it ahead to Harold Thompson. It's dumped into the Los Angeles zone by Peter Mahovlich, but the Kings have control. Stopped at the line by Barry Long. Long's pass out in front, but the Wings had fallen back. And the Kings pick it up, shoot at the length of the ice. There'll be another icing call, and the play will come right back into the Los Angeles end with 2.5 minutes to play.
The Kings are getting a little careless. They're more concerned with icing the puck. Here's a case where the play's deep in Los Angeles zone again. The Wings have to force. They want to get the tying goal. It's awful tough. Just keep throwing the puck out of your own zone. You get yourself in trouble, and it's given the Wings a golden opportunity right now on a face-off.
Face-off will stay to the right side of the Los Angeles goal. Detroit coming out now with Glenn Hicks and Danny Bolduc on either side of Dale McCourt. Perry Miller is back out now, playing on the left side of the defense with Reed Larson. And the Kings counter with Marcel Dion, Simmer, and Taylor. Face-off deep in the King zone. It'll be McCourt going in against Dion. 2.5 minutes to play in the third period. 4-3 Los Angeles. From the face-off, McCourt handed it back to Perry Miller. Knocked away, but at the line, Hicks kept it in. Took a long shot, and Lassard himself kicked it all the way out to center ice. Reed Larson picks it up, handed it off to McCourt. His pass went behind Bolduc. And Simmer cleared it to the Detroit line. Reed Larson hands it off there to Hicks. Glenn Hicks of the Wings. Ahead now, too far for Dale McCourt. Hicks picked it up a second time, took it over the line, but he was stopped right in his tracks by Palmer. And the Kings have control as they swing in behind their own goal. Mulhern was pulled to the ice. And digging in, Marcel Dion took the loose puck, cleared it out on the right side, and here's Palmer bringing it down the ice. Ahead to Dion, charging through. Dion took the shot, and Rutherford somehow made the save on that as Dion, with a burst of speed, went right through. Wings tried to get Hicks loose, couldn't do it. Play came back into the Detroit zone. Now Dion right around Perry Miller. It came out in front to Simmer. Simmer shot wide. And Rutherford was down and out of the play, but the shot by Simmer went wide of the net. Puck came along the boards, and Wings failed to work it out. Here's Simmer digging it out of the corner, being chased by Reed Larson. Larson hauled him to the ice and got away with that. And the crowd doesn't like it. 1:15 to go. Danny Bolduc down the right side into the Los Angeles zone. Drops it for Dale McCourt. Put it out in front. And it went to the corner. McCourt in after it. Dale McCourt trying to center it. He's checked. He picked it up again. And then he's checked the second time by Mulhern. Play goes in behind the Los Angeles goal. They hold it there with 1 minute to play in the hockey game, and it's 4-3. Los Angeles leads.
Dale McCourt trying to come out of the corner. He should have put the puck right back out in front of the net to see if one of his teammates could whack it in. You can't stand still and stick handle when you're deep in the corner and having people jump and grab at you.
We'll keep an eye, of course, on Jimmy Rutherford now, who is more than likely about to vacate the Detroit net if the Wings can gain possession. That was some kind of a save that Rutherford made on Dion.
It was some kind of a play for Dion to break in between the two defensemen, and Jimmy Rutherford he come up with the real marbles to keep this game at 4-3. They're going to take him off. Oh, they've called
Detroit's
for time.
called a timeout.
Very good, to give them a rest.
Well, we'll tell you again that it'll be Friday night action from Vancouver with 10:55 our broadcast time on radio, and Saturday at Edmonton 9:25, and a week from tonight we'll be in Winnipeg at 8:55 broadcast time there, and the Red Wings open their home season a week from Saturday, October 20th, against the Philadelphia Flyers at Olympia Stadium. 1 minute exactly to play in the hockey game.
And for an opening game, Bruce, this has been a very exciting hockey game. The Kings have dominated at times because of their forechecking, and they've made the Wings make mistakes in behind their blue line. But then there have been times when the Kings have been careless and the Wings have carried the play and have come close to scoring goals.
So Jimmy Rutherford has gone to the Detroit bench. The Wings have 6 attackers up. Our next telecast comes up the 27th, a Saturday night from Montreal, the 27th of October. Peter Mahavlich taking an all-important face-off against Steve Carlson to the right of the Los Angeles goal. 6 attackers inside the line, but Los Angeles got the loose puck and shoots it down the ice. Reed Larson back after it. As at his own blue line, a center ice pass to Willie Huber. Huber was checked, and Larson had to come in quickly to retrieve the puck. Now Dale McCourt to Nedemansky. Ned, a bouncing shot. Lassard stopped that, handed it off to Barry Gibbs. 35 seconds to go. Puck along the boards. Larson couldn't get to it. It's fired down the ice. It'll go wide, and there'll be an icing call as McCourt is back to touch it. And now 28 seconds remain in the hockey game. It's 4-3 Los Angeles, and the play will come right back into the King zone to the left of Mario Lassard.
And talk about excitement for an opener. Here we are playing without a goaltender for a minute. Jimmy Rutherford, with a minute to play, was pulled and to put on the extra forward. The Wings have another golden opportunity with a face-off deep in Los Angeles zone. All 6 players will be inside the blue line. They have Larson and McCourt back deep. They have Mahavlich, Nedemansky. Big Willie Huber has moved up as a forward, probably to do a little pushing out in front of the net. Errol Thompson.
Bobby Crom had called Dale McCourt over, wanted a word with him, and the referee says you can't do that. You already had your timeout. So McCourt, amid the
Only one
booing
man
the crowd
back.
here. Now Peter Mahovlich won the draw. The puck bouncing loose out in front. Mahovlich scores! Peter Mahovlich gets the tying goal. It's 4-4 with 24 seconds to go.
You just can't
How about
believe it.
that?
Mahovlich won the face-off. It came over along the boards to Reed Larson, I believe it was. Larson just dumped it out towards the front of the net. Peter Mahovlich moved out in front of the net, took the puck, and whipped it by Lassard. And you know, it was Peter Mahovlich's reach. He just reached around Butch Goring, knocked the puck closer to the net, and then reached back and put it in behind Lassard with 24 seconds to go to give the Wings the tie. Now the Wings will make changes and get some defensive hockey players out there. Jimmy Rutherford has gone back in the net. But this game is not over yet with 24 seconds. When you look out on the ice and see type of
Tell
Butch
you what,
Goring.
after last year, Sid, it's fun to see Detroit come back in the latter moments of a game. And as you say, 24 seconds still to play.
Number 28, Reed Larson.
Nedomansky and Larson draw the assist on Mahovlich's goal at 1936.
Detroit goal, number 11.
Bobby Crom calls Peter Mahovlich over to have a word with him. The game is tied at 4-4. 24 seconds still to go.
Reed Larson.
Glenn Goldup has gone into the penalty box.
Well, they probably put up a...
Number 1, Mario
Oh,
Lassard.
Lassard.
2 minutes for delay of game.
Lassard called for delay of game. He must have shot the puck away, so the Wings have the power play chance, but they lost control. Here's Goring cutting into the Detroit zone. He was knocked down. Picking up the loose puck, Tommy Bergman. 10 seconds to go. Right side pass, Peter Mahovlich when chasing and after it. It was knocked back out center ice. Goring has it there. 3 seconds to go. This game will end as a tie with a play in behind the Detroit goal. And the buzzer goes. Well, you don't like a tie too much, but this one was a happy one for the Wings. Here's the third period scoring summary brought to you by Magnavox and Fretter Appliance Stores. With the game tied 2-2 going into the third period, Taylor made a one-man rush around Perry Miller to beat Jimmy Rutherford at 2:46 and make it 3-2 Los Angeles. Then with Greg Jolly in the penalty box at 3:50, it was Howard firing a shot from the blue line that beat Rutherford cleanly, and it was a 4-2 hockey game. Errol Thompson got one of them back at 12:18, a power play goal from Foligno and Sobchuk, and then with 24 seconds remaining in the hockey game, and with Jimmy Rutherford out of the net for the extra attacker, Peter Mahovlich from a scramble picked it up and fired it by Mario Lassard, and the Red Wings tie the hockey game at 4-4. So that's at the end of the game with a final score, a 4-4 tie. We'll be back to the Forum here in Inglewood in just a moment. Well, Sid Abel, if anything is to be pointed out in this hockey game, it is the fact, I think, that 3 times the Red Wings went behind, the last time by 2 goals, and 3 times they came back to tie the hockey game. And what a contrast to a season ago, as you'll recall, when everything used to go wrong for Detroit in the latter moments of a hockey game.
Well, it just proves, Bruce, that a hockey game has to be played for 60 minutes. I thought Los Angeles tried to protect their lead a little too much. They were getting careless in their own zone. They give the Wings the opportunities to get back in the game. Errol Thompson was picked as the 3rd star. The other 2 were both L.A. players. Howarth was the 2nd star. Charlie Simmer for his 2 goals was the 1st star. But I thought Errol Thompson's goal was the one that really broke L.A.'s back. It put them right back in, and then big Peter Mahovlich tied it.
Thompson had 2 goals tonight. In the third period, Detroit had 10 shots in the net, Los Angeles 6. The overall shots and goal, Los Angeles 25 and Detroit 24. And Peter Mahovlich, very fittingly, on his 33rd birthday today, well, really it was yesterday because we're into the next day if you're in Detroit, Peter gets the big goal with 24 seconds remaining to tie the hockey game at 4-4. Our next telecast will be October 27th from the Forum in Montreal this time. Our next radio broadcast will be Friday night from Vancouver. We look to have you with us at 10:55. And so for our producer-director Marvin Muse, this is Bruce Martin along with Sid Abel saying goodbye from the Forum here in Inglewood, California.
Detroit Red Wing Hockey is brought to you by AMC, your Metro Detroit AMC Jeep dealer featuring the American Eagle. And by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. And by Pesky and the all-new Pesky Great American Premium line of products. And by Little Caesars, a winner any way you slice it. Now a message from the president of the United States' largest independent Toro dealer.